talking about the Haas here. Sometimes there's a man. Well, let me take this again. Sorry.
Oh my God.
This is important.
Enough, Griffin.
This is important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the Haas here. Sometimes there's a podcast. Well, it's the podcast for its time and place. Fits right in there. And that's the Haas in New Jersey. And even if it's a sloppy podcast, and Blank Check was most certainly that, quite possibly the sloppiest in New York City, which would place it high in the running for laziest worldwide, sloppiest worldwide. But sometimes there's a podcast. Sometimes there's a podcast. Oh, I lost my train of thought there, but oh hell, I done introduced it enough. I really could not get it.
No. Sorry.
I was trying.
I'd like you to keep trying.
For the next 3 hours?
Yeah.
I could not get there.
Was he always, like, in Roadhouse, does he talk like that? Like, was he always at that register basically his whole life, Sam Elliott?
I would say this movie is the moment that the Sam Elliott thing is kind of heightened in a way that SNL did for Christopher Walken. Do you know what I'm saying?
I was also watching it at this time being like, I think I'm Sam Elliott's age.
Right. He's not that old in this movie.
Okay, let's look it up. Let's do the math. We gotta do the math immediately.
That was the real sad.
You know what? He's 80 years old now. So he would have been,
really?
yeah, so he would have been like 44, no, 54?
This movie's 98.
Oh, fuck, I'm so bad at math.
You're not in your 50s.
No, I'm 43.
You're in the clear then.
Yeah.
I think you have
he was
Sam Elliott.
54.
Okay.
You got
close, though.
you got a decade before you.
That's closer than you'd like to
You think you ever do a Western? Like a
I'd
fucking.
love to do a Western.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Do you know what I'm saying though? Like he always talked like this. And then I think this movie memified him in a way that like SNL did with Christopher Walken, where it's like,
Well,
we're
also kind
using-
of Jeff Bridges
Yeah,
did to himself.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We're using your voice as like a comedic instrument now. And then after that, that becomes the thing that people impersonate, and then people hire him to do the
And then you
version
do
of the
it.
thing.
Yeah, you
Right, and I botch it.
No, but I mean, he does it. The owner
Yeah.
of the voice himself starts to do.
Yes, absolutely.
And then
sort
the
of an
thing in
impersonation.
Star is Born is Bradley Cooper saying to him, like, I stole your voice.
Yeah.
In the movie, he says it.
Right, and I can
Yeah.
do that better.
You can do
I just want to take another
I gotta watch that again. I gotta Star is Born.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that movie. So
You got to get
that
back
would
in
be
the
too.
shallows.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. He gets the and in this movie.
Does he?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's a perfect and.
And
Mhm.
Sam Elliott.
And Sam Elliott.
And Sam Elliott as the stranger.
The Stranger, which
Have
is a
you-
cool name.
Have you ever gotten an and as? You must have, right?
Maybe I've gotten.
Have you ever
an
been
and.
like angrily on the phone that feels like a studio episode being like, if I don't get the fucking and
I know.
as.
More so, that's one of those things that like
Your
my
agent-
agents feel very strongly about. I'm just like, I could give a fucking.
I do not
shit.
want with.
I
It
don't
won't
care.
be with.
I just know when we did Ninja Turtles recently, we had to give Paul Rudd like an introduce. Paul Rudd wanted an
Yes.
introducing Paul Rudd.
That was good for Mondo Gecko.
Was
right,
it
that
was it
was fun.
introducing as Mondo?
I think it was an introducing Paul Rudd as Mondo.
That's what I like about the and as, and is my favorite form of billing. What I like about it is it's not just the honorific of the and, right? You're the most important person who wasn't going to enter the top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But also that it's like, and we're telling you this character is
Yeah.
important. Either that it's like, for the first time, Paul Rudd is essaying the legendary role of Mondo Gecko,
Exactly.
right? As if it's Laertes. Or the movie's just saying to you, the stranger is going to matter.
Yeah.
You don't know the stranger yet.
He's gonna matter.
Keep your eye out for the stranger.
Yeah.
And his name is the Stranger, which also just instantly makes the movie cool because you're
Yes.
like, oh, there's a character called the Stranger,
And he's
That's
already
cool. That's cool.
Talking.
You've already heard him.
He's been talking for minutes.
It's already been him.
He's failing to land the plane.
Right. He's doing kind of a bad job at his one job.
I
but-
once.
He's kind of doing a Blank Check podcast intro. Sorry, you were about to say.
You know, the Jason Reitman used to do those live reads.
Yes.
Yeah, I did one. I did the one for
You
the
did
Big Lebowski.
Ghostbusters. Oh,
yeah.
yes.
And I did Lebowski.
Yeah.
And Sam Elliott came and did his
he
role.
did it. Because who could
live.
replace him?
It's one of those.
so wait,
right?
who were you?
I was the dude.
You were the
You were the dude. Who
I
was
was-
Walter?
Walter was, I think, Rainn Wilson.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that. He can do the
There's a version
aggro.
of that.
Yeah.
But you're in an interesting place because you could, I think,
You
I
could
think
do
as I
either.
was doing it, I was like, I would have been better suited to be
you
Walter.
could do either. It's
in
one
this
degree in either
situation.
direction.
Well, as I was doing it, I was like, the dude is pretty aggressive throughout the movie.
Yes.
Like he's not that mellow.
It's part of the magic trick of this movie is that we talk a lot about the issue sometimes of making a movie where a character doesn't want to be in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That is frustrating for the audience, where the character is like stopping the movie from happening.
Not trying to perpetuate the plot of the movie itself. Yeah.
Yes, and is actively pushing back against it. And this is a movie where that's the whole motor of the thing. And it's just him being annoyed that the movie keeps showing up at his doorstep. And yet he's towing this very specific line of he plays his anger of just like, well, that's inconvenient.
Well, he makes one choice, which is he goes to the other Lebowski to get his rug back.
If he hadn't done that,
the whole movie wouldn't have happened. Right. And he's incensed. So as passive as a character and as like along for the ride as he is, he he starts the movie actively. Like he could have just been like, and it's almost more in character in some ways for him to have been like, these guys pissed on my rug. It was a misunderstanding, whatever, who cares? But instead he's like incensed about it. And he wants a new rug.
Well,
like,
it's
an injustice.
It's perfect characterization that he can get punched in the face and be like, "Oh, come on."
He doesn't care about that.
But the rug is like, I must do something about it.
It tied the room together. One of the many insufferable quotes that people will never stop saying from this film. Myself too.
It is a weird case. I will admit this. I'm a big Coen Brothers fan.
Is this not a movie for you?
It's not one of my like
you haven't seen this 400
movies.
times,
right? And I have zero issues with it, and I think it's like another Coen Brothers masterpiece. I do feel like there is 5% of the world's most annoying people getting to me about this movie.
Yeah,
I don't actually hold it against the film, and I feel like on this rewatch, I did the kind of like complete brain wipe. Just watch this as a film and ignore it. But it is funny to watch it and be like, this movie has become the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And that you can literally take any line or image or like character name, and like every element of this now is well-established cultural shorthand.
What's our podcast called?
Our podcast is called Blank Check with Griffin and David. I'm Griffin.
I'm David.
Sometimes there's a man, and sometimes there's a man. It's a podcast about filmographies, directors who have massive success early on in their careers and are given a series of blank checks to make whatever crazy passion projects they want. Sometimes those checks clear and sometimes they bounce baby. This is a mini-series on the films of Joel and Ethan Coen, together and separately. Today we are talking about The Big Lebowski, which I'm struggling to think if there's another example of this, which is a blank check cash-in off at the time their biggest success.
Sure.
That is seen as an absolute bounce and then retroactively has become unquestionably their biggest film.
Yeah. To the point that if you even suggest it isn't, you're a liar.
You are. You're just like, that is the movie.
Liar. It's just weird that you're like, if you sit down and think about the Coens for a sec, you're like, yeah, the crime movies, fucking Raising Arizona, Fargo, No Country. You can think about that for a day, and then you'd be like, oh shit, they made The Big Lebowski on top of all that. Like, they created a whole other universe of like fans.
It is just the movie that everyone knows.
Yeah.
We have this.
You have the dude. I'm looking at him right now.
We have the dude. I'm glad you noticed, because that was a new addition to the menagerie. I recently purchased a dude.
Wait, where's the dude?
I got a little dude.
Oh, there he is.
The Total Recall.
Yeah. God, he's fucking like a foot tall. What the hell is that thing?
Well, toys come in different scales. You collect a bit, right?
I do have a lot of stuff. Yes, very much so. I was going to ask how articulatable he is, which is a real toy term.
Great. And boy, am I thrilled. And I'll tell you what I'm most excited about
Not as many points of articulation as you would hope.
I am excited by the fact that for the first time, this conversation is not causing David to hit his head on the table. Okay. He can't shut it down when you're asking questions.
You're interested
when I bring it up, he goes like, oh, fuck, no, I got to get out of here.
My daughter took a toy from this shelf.
I've been meaning to ask you, what did she take?
Do you know? Have you noticed? I was wondering, because you got 4,000 toys on this shelf.
I'm aware, but I keep a Rolodex and I've not been able to.
He took, I believe it is Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost in tiny
yep, cool. Great.
I thought you were going to say forskin.
Yeah, she took his foreskin. People forget. Anakin Skywalker is canonically uncircumcised until Attack of the Clones.
Had George Lucas made a limited run of collectible?
Right, yeah. Right.
He was born with a Watto nose because downstairs, because Watto's his father. And then as part of the Jedi ritual,
What's funny, Griffin, is the only other time I met you in person, I think, is you were dressed as Watto.
Right, he was. There's our Watto.
We had been messaging, and then you very kindly did the George Lucas talk show, and you came backstage, and I was already in the costume.
You were already Watto.
And I went, this is a very embarrassing way to me.
I've had that. I used to present at the they used to do, I don't even know, do they still do the MTV Movie Awards and stuff like
I
that?
think now the MTV Movie and TV and Text Awards.
Great.
Yeah.
Movie and Meme Awards.
Yeah, right.
Movie and Meme Awards. Most memeable meme. And I used to do like, it's so hard to get a laugh at those things. I would do the dumbest shit ever. And I remember one year, like, my bit was that, like, I was all like roided out or something. And so I was in this like insane giant muscle bodysuit. And I remember meeting for the first time so many people. I met like Kendrick Lamar for the first time. And all these people I'm in.
Is this
yes,
you?
This giant,
you're with Zach.
This giant, stupid muscle bodysuit.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be Norm, like, hey, big fan. So nice to meet you. This is part of a bit. I'm doing a bit. I haven't done it yet. It's coming up. Please.
Well, you have 2 MTV Movie Awards. Did you know that?
No.
You have one for Best Musical Sequence in This Is the End.
Yeah.
And then one for Best WTF Moment in Neighbors. I don't know what that was.
I don't know
What
what
was the
that
moment?
was.
David?
I can't.
I think physically one of them is in our office. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what
Fair
happened. The
enough,
other one.
You and Rose won it. So
maybe Rose took it.
What was the moment, though?
Was it me milking her? Maybe it might have been.
Possibly.
That's a moment.
If I had to
Possibly.
choose a moment,
That's a hashtag WTF moment.
hashtag WTF.
I just love looking at the MTV because it's like the Oscars. It's like, yeah, we've handed out these awards for 100 years. And the MTV was like, I don't know, every couple of years we're like, should we do WTF moments? And
Yes.
They're like, forget it.
They
Don't
tried
do
They
that
used to do
anymore.
Best Kiss. They're like,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is gross.
Yeah, now they don't do Best
anymore.
Kiss.
Now it's back. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. What was I going to say? Well, who's our guest?
Well, I got a lot of things to say here. We've already established a lot on the table. Our guest today is Seth Rogen.
Hey, Seth.
How's it
And I'm going to lead with the
Thanks for
credits.
showing up.
I was curious. There's an account that does the cataloging of actors and how many times we've covered them on this podcast,
Well, sure.
updated week to week. And I was curious what the Seth Rogen blank check canon is.
I bet
Like
two?
movies we've
Which
covered.
I'm going to list as your credits, okay?
My assumption is Steve Jobs and the Fablemans.
Correct.
And that's it.
Can you name the third one?
There's a not Donnie Darko.
No.
Not yet, although I'd love to do him.
Is it an animated movie?
It is.
No.
It is.
It is.
It is. Sometimes people pretend it isn't.
Really?
That's my hint. And it was not covered as part of covering that director. We weirdly did it as a one-off.
You talking about The Lion
I'm
King?
talking about the Lion
Oh,
King.
the first one.
Pumbaa made main
Favreau-
feed.
Right.
The Favreau
Of
Lion
course.
King. Yeah,
Um,
I'm in that as well.
yeah, I forgot you're in Donnie Darko. You're just mean at a bus stop in Donnie Darko.
I'm in a few scenes. I
You're
kill
not
Jenna
in bus
Malone.
stop,
I
Amy.
throw Jenna Malone.
You're the murderer.
and she gets hit by a car. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
I'm in a few
It's a
different
madman.
scenes.
But then we
I
also
know. Yeah,
on this
that's not-
podcast.
movies aren't. You should know it's not real.
David, you of all people.
Why would you do that to Steven Spielberg?
You guys, you've done so many episodes.
How does it feel that you are the architect of Steven Spielberg's like artistic career and that you fell in love with his mom?
Yeah.
And like, which made him make movies.
Which made him
according
make
to that
movies.
movie.
He was sort of into it before that, but it seemed like he had inclinations to make. He was filming The Train before.
He was
any of
filming
that
that. You're
stuff
right.
happened.
You're right. You're
But
right.
do you watch E.T. and go like, thank God?
Thank God I did that.
cucked his
Thank God I
dad.
did that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for me,
Yeah.
making those choices,
Yeah.
none of this would have happened. Yeah, no, it's weird that happened.
It is.
Did Spielberg say that like for that role? He's like, this one's a weird one.
You know what's funny is I actually feel like as we were filming, I feel like he sort of had it contextualized one way, and then as we were filming it and like bringing it to life, he sort of started to maybe at times see how weird it was. Like I think in his head, he's like, yeah, we were all on a camping trip, and my mom and this guy are sort of like canoodling a little bit, which I think like in your head is one way, and then I think like as
You're
we were
recreating
actually
it.
recreating it,
right.
there was moments where I felt. Maybe I was projecting it, but I felt him feeling like, "Oh, this is maybe more fucked up."
It almost became like a Shutter Island as he was actually forcing
and
people
I think
to
it
act.
actually like changed the tone. I think to his credit, he like would go with it and like kind of change the tone of the scene a little bit from being like, I feel like in the script it was almost like cutesy, and then when brought to life, it was much more tragic.
It's why not to be serious. Why that movie rocks because
Yes.
it is dark, but not in like an over the top way.
It's even like the music and stuff. Like again, it's one of those things where I mean, it's a rare gift to have like John Williams like score a movie,
Score your face.
score your face,
Right.
and yeah, just to see like even in my head, I was like, oh, these scenes are so much more sad now with all this stuff. But yeah, It's weird. The whole thing is weird. I sat next to John Williams at the Oscars that year. I talked to him for like 5 hours straight.
Really?
That's incredible.
Unbelievable.
That completely rocks.
Yeah, it was
so cool.
One of the greatest, like, of that whole Fabelman's experience. Like, that was honestly one of the coolest things. Was just like, because I didn't meet him throughout the whole process, really. And then I'm like, I show up at the Oscars. They're like, oh, you're sitting next to John Williams, and it was incredible.
Does he get really annoyed when he loses? Does he go, God fucking damn it?
No, he genuinely just seemed to. He's got it.
All quiet on the Western Front.
He seems like yeah. He kept punching the seat in front of him that Donnie Yen was sitting in. I was like, chill out, man. No, and it's sort of connected to this. Is I actually talked to him a lot about one of my other favorite sort of hapless detective films, The Long Goodbye,
Right, of
which
amazing score, right?
And does one of my favorite. It does something. It's funny because I've always loved how that movie takes they wrote a song, The Long Goodbye, and they use it in different genres in different times of the film. And like when they're in Mexico, there's like a funeral procession playing like sort of like a sad Spanish version of it.
There's like a sort of Muzak.
Yeah, and like when they're in the elevator, when they're in the grocery store, there's like the Muzak version of it and all this stuff. And I was like, how did you guys think of that? And he was like, it was just an idea that me and Robert Altman came up with. And he's like, what's funny is we thought everyone was going to start doing it. Like, we were like, this is going to be a thing. Like, this is going to like create a like musical revolution in movies where people like realize you can sort of do this. And then he's like, and then nobody ever did it ever again. But it's great.
It's probably a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's probably hard. Yeah.
I feel like I was trying to do a letterbox list once of movies where the same song is played multiple times and the context changes, which is a little different than
but
the song changes.
Yeah.
But
it's
both
still cool.
exist.
Yes.
Yeah. Something About Mary almost does a version of that.
Yeah, with those guys in the tree, the singing guys. They kind of do.
They're kind of different songs, but they're kind of all evolutions of the same song.
I have not seen that movie in like 25 years.
Do you know that movie is a 10 out of 10 knockout masterpiece?
I remember loving it.
I love them.
Yeah.
That movie is one of like the most like revelatory experiences I had in a movie theater in my life.
Mind blowing.
I feel like that's right before like you're in Hollywood, right? Like that's like
a year before,
right?
Yeah. And we were already like I think writing Superbad, but I remember seeing that and being like, "Oh my god,
this is allowed.
Like, we can push this so much further than I thought maybe we could." It's all that shot where you see his dick and balls in the
It's insane.
Like that to me is like it's like there's the fucking like Obelisk in 2001 and like there's like to me that is like deserves like
I agree.
As far as comedy goes, that is like one of the most like boundary pushing iconic shots,
and then they do it 5 minutes in that they're like
and they really and the joke is so clearly and it's so smart, and I love jokes that like play off of your expectations as an audience member, which is like, oh, the joke is that you're not going to see it, and that they keep describing this horrific thing,
right? And everyone's all these great
everyone's describing it, and everyone's
they're also describing it in a way that sounds impossible. Where you're like, they couldn't physically show me this.
Oh, the Frank's above the beans. Oh, the zipper's all the way down, and it keeps getting grosser and grosser. And then they show it, and somehow in that like one brief image, you see everything that everyone's been talking about.
Like Chiodo Brothers, like puppet insert shot.
Oh, yeah.
But then the thing that's so revolutionary is from that moment on in the movie, you're like, they could show me
They could do anything. All bets are off.
Anything could be shown in any sliding scale of reality.
It's like in a horror movie when you do something really scary up front and you're like, oh, the stakes are
It's Drew Barrymore getting killed.
Yeah, you're like, anyone could die at any minute. And in that movie,
it's funny that we're talking about that movie because that movie came out the same year as The Big Lebowski.
It came out comedy hit of 1998.
Right. It came out probably like, Big Lebowski was March.
June.
So it came out in like
Mary's
the summer.
June or July.
It's July. But it's funny how, at the time, everyone was like, Big Lebowski. Everyone was like,
The next several years of comedy are people chasing Mary. That was the kind of like, in a way that I'd say 40-Year-Old Virgin was one of those.
Oh, for sure.
Hangover was one of those where it's just like, this is now the thing that everyone's chasing. This movie has come out, feels like it's like a shot from the dark. And now everyone wants to follow this trend. That Mary was so revelatory for me. I went home and like, young Sammy Fabelman with the train set.
Recreated the nuts shot.
Experimenting
with the zipper in the mirror.
Zipping your nuts up. Yeah. Almost got it.
To answer your question, the Big Lebowski action figure.
Oh, yeah, sure. There you go.
Oh, Ben put it down on the desk. So this is from 2008. It's from the 10th anniversary of the movie, which I really feel like was when the Big Lebowski
started to really catch on.
Had become mainstream, and Universal was like, we can put this on anything. We can sell everything with Lebowski quotes on it. it's meant to sort of be a riff on like a fucking Kid Robot urban vinyl figure.
Yeah, it looks a little
So that's
hip,
why
kinda,
it's limited articulation and kind
I
of
gotcha.
caricatured.
It's almost more of a statue.
But it's, I'd argue it's in a little bit of a weird middle ground.
It is.
It's
agree.
a little too solid.
Yeah.
It doesn't have
It's
the
not quite
roto-vinyl
artful
construction.
enough to be like an art piece, but it's not articulatable enough to be a fun toy.
It's just the arms and the head.
Right. Yeah.
David, you're such a Philistine. You don't know what you're talking about.
I know I don't.
I just won a best offer for the Walter, which I think is a little better.
Okay. Just to complete my thing.
It is good.
You have all these. Can you describe to me what the Anakin ghost is from?
They're called Disney Doorables.
Disney Doorables.
They're like an inch tall.
They're like an inch tall. They're like adorables, but you call them Doorables because they come in a little cardboard blind box where
you
it's
mostly have
like
living
brick kinda?
Star Wars characters
Yes.
up there.
Yeah.
But you have 3 ghosts. You have Yoda, right?
It was a special set. It came in a 10.
Of the dead.
That looks like a, yes.
Right.
It's all the ghosts.
And she took him and she's like, who's this? And
But
I'm
it's,
like, I don't
it's
fucking know.
Hayden,
I don't know.
right?
Well, that's the thing. It
Okay.
looks, it's young. So I said it was Obi-Wan because I was just kind of thrown.
It's not Jake
Fucking
Lloyd.
fool. It's not Jake
Well,
Lloyd.
he didn't die when he was. It'd be weird if he died and then
If
came
he-
back as a ghost as Jake Lloyd.
He fucking dies in the pod, like
Can you
Sebulba just
imagine
kills him.
if George Lucas had gone fucking Glorious Bastards on episode 1 and the movie ends with Anakin being murdered and you're like,
would've been
what are
amazing.
these movies?
That would have been cool.
So she calls it Obi-Wan. It's a prize toy for her. It's like a big deal
She
for her.
knows who Obi-Wan is.
Well, she knows that thing's called Obi-Wan, which of course he's not actually called Obi-Wan, but whatever. I'm willing to let that slide because he is at least a Force ghost.
Yeah.
And I think it's cute that she says Obi-Wan.
I do
anyway.
too.
Like she's
And I
walking
think
around
if she
saying-
was going to take one, that's probably the one I
it's
least
just funny
felt
that
the need
she
to
was
keep.
confronted with this wall of toys and she was like, yeah.
But also, Ehrlich's son was
Ghost
taking all of those. I think we were playing with them
Were they possibly
upstairs.
What
Yeah.
is the Total Recall thing?
That was the DVD release of Total Recall.
Oh, is that the DVD itself?
was packaged in
like
a
Mars?
tin Mars.
Oh yeah, I think
It was when Lionsgate was like, we're going to really fucking experiment with the form. And I think the big thing was they paid Schwarzenegger like $500,000 to do the commentary.
Oh, that's funny. Is it
And
amazing?
It's good.
I love that. I love that movie.
Schwarzenegger's
best.
just smoking a cigar and Verhoeven's making a bunch of sexist comments.
Sounds amazing
It
to me.
is kind of incredible, but it
Sounds
felt like,
right up my alley.
is this going to be the new thing of like big salaries for commentaries?
Right.
Yeah. And then Lionsgate was like, everything's packaged weird. Basic Instinct came with a pen that looked like the ice pick.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
This is the thing. Speaking of collecting, I think about this a lot. And my aspirations to someday be someone who may be married. I remember an interview with you years ago where you said the rule I have with my wife is if it's a character she doesn't know, it can't be in the living room.
Yeah, there had to be like a communal. Like I have an office where, like, I had a big collection of this stuff. Memorabilia. Yeah, sure. Collectibles.
Yes.
And yeah, once we moved in together, what could be in like communal spaces became a real topic of conversation.
Right. Like the Hulk can be there, but Doc Samson can't.
Yes, exactly. But
Right.
then it eventually just sort of segued into us like both sort of buying like things together, which actually became much nicer. And we sort of started collecting like art. We would go to like little art shows and buy things together, which was nice. So like we found a way to bond over our collecting.
What a sweet story.
Yes, it's lovely. Like the Fabelmans.
Yes, very much like the Fabelmans. So your friend David Krumholtz
Yes, was on this podcast.
was on this
He sure
podcast.
was.
It was
friend
great.
of the show.
I love Wonder on Son of the Seven of Woman.
Son of a Woman
It was
episode.
amazing.
Absolutely.
One of our most normal episodes. we are eager to have him on again. Krumholtz keeps texting me, I can't believe you guys haven't done Wolfgang Peterson yet.
That's
we
funny.
should do Wolfgang.
How haven't you
Peterson.
done Wolfgang? I got to do Wolfgang.
Who does
Yeah.
he? What's his Wolfgang?
Any Wolfgang.
Okay, well, all right.
It started with, I missed Wolfgang, right? You guys must have done him years
That's
ago.
funny.
Out of the blue, I got that text.
You
And I
must
was
have
like,
done Wolfgang.
we haven't. And now every couple of months, it's anger at you. Still haven't done Wolfgang?
He can do Enemy
Is
Mine.
Ronan Wolfgang Peterson?
No, that's John Frankenheimer.
John Franken. I get Wolfgang Peterson and John Frankenheimer confused.
And
they were
those
in
are
a
both
similar
good
place
guys.
in the 90s.
Das
Yeah.
Boot?
Das Boot is Wolfgang.
That's his
Peterson.
like
What are the big Perfect Storm?
Wolfgang.
Perfect Storm, Air Force
Wolfgang.
One.
Air Force
In
One.
the Line of
Outbreak.
Fire.
In the Line of Fire.
He actually,
Wolfgang
fuck, should
He was
we
on
do
fire.
Wolfgang? He
Yeah.
does kind of rock.
Krumholtz booked for every Wolfgang
Peterson.
episode.
One of them.
And of course, he did Neverending Story.
Yeah.
If we did him
Oh, yeah.
the never ending story, we could do like a 10-hour
A
episode.
never-ending episode.
David,
Never
you know how you always complain that these episodes are too short?
Oh yeah, that's me always complaining.
But then you message shortly after that and say, hey, Krumholtz got me into the podcast. I've been listening.
Yes.
And then
Very
we've been
nice of
messaging back and forth since then. You did George Lucas very kindly. We've been trying to find the right thing to do. You did a letterbox top 4 on some red carpet.
Some red carpet.
And you named this.
Yeah.
Alongside Clueless, which we have just covered.
Yeah, which was a great episode as well.
Thank you. And I'm trying to remember what your other 2 were.
I don't even remember. I kind of threw them out. I usually say The Last Detail because it like offsets the like lack of fanciness in my other choices. And I often say Terminator 2, which might have been the other one. Might have been the other one.
Last Detail, Terminator 2.
That's a killer 4. That's a killer 4.
That's a pretty good 4.
Oh,
I'm really a child of the 90s.
Chase had really good. I'm watching the entire studio
Chase
cast.
Great taste.
Oh, and Catherine had really good.
Catherine Hahn also has really good. Yeah, I watched those. Yeah, they
Last Detail is kind of feels like a big Coen inspiration in a lot of ways.
I mean, I think if you look at, The Last Detail and The Big Lebowski and Superbad and Pineapple Express also, there's a lot of similarities in those movies. And it's like not a coincidence. Like we were really inspired by, and we love The Big Lebowski. So did you guys see it like in theaters?
I definitely did not. I was remembering. So I was 12 when this came out. How old? You're a couple years older than me.
I was 16, I think.
So you must have seen it in theaters?
No, what's funny is I didn't. Like it looked, it's because the whole marketing campaign
which
for
was
it
like bad.
Was fucking crazy.
Right.
And they really leaned into like the fantasy sequences.
The
like,
fantasy and the
lot
bowling.
of the marketing was about the bowling, and it was like the women with the bowling things on their heads.
You were like, is this Kingpin meets
And the poster was crazy.
Yeah. It gives you
I,
nothing.
I actually remember going to school and some of my friends having seen it, and they're like, it's a stoner. He's so sweet. Like, they're like, it's a stoner detective movie. And I was like, what? And they were like, it's like a stoner movie, and he's like caught in this big funny thing, and there's these people, they're cutting toes off, and I was like, oh, this sounds funny. And then I remember watching it and being like, oh, this was like the worst marketed movie in the entire fucking world, basically.
And yet, you're like,
I just want to point out, this was the British poster, which is even worse.
It's just the two of them.
It's just with a toe. With the toe.
They really tried to push like a girl's toe gets cut off.
They didn't know what to do with this.
Which, like, why would anyone? And it was rated 18 in Britain because John Goodman bites someone's ear off.
That's crazy.
The British rating board, like, remember Mike Tyson had just been biting? It was like, we don't want anyone biting ears.
It was a sensitive time for ear biting.
Children are going to be biting ears in playgrounds.
It's like Child's Play 2.
Right.
That's really...
So I couldn't see it in theaters. So I too probably discovered it as Seth did, like on video, like 2 or years,
I saw it right when it came out on video.
Right.
I remember like as by the time it was like on video, it had gotten out that it was like actually a cool movie, basically.
I probably saw it around 2003.
Which I feel like that is when its cult status had been completely cemented. Like it became a college thing. And by the time I got to college in like 2004, it was
had I moved to LA in 1999, and I remember going and hanging out at that bowling alley a lot because
is it still there?
No, it was knocked down, but all those like neon stars were like made for the movie, but they left them there.
That's
so they were.
I love that.
Yeah,
Hollywood Star Lanes.
Yeah, Hollywood Star Lanes, and they would have like $1.99 White Russians, basically, and which is not a drink you should drink a lot of by any stretch of the imagination, because it's mostly milk and vodka, and so. But we would go there all the time, and we would go bowling, and we would drink White Russians, and we just like, and because we loved the movie, like, so, like, there was a group of us who were fans at that time, and enough people were fans at that time that there was like a little subculture of people that like would go to that bowling alley.
But I was going to say, at that moment in time, that's almost more like the Popeye Malta village of like, what are we going to do? Tear this down?
Yeah, we got to leave.
Let's just market to the people who did like this weird movie.
Yeah.
Versus if that place had stayed open another 5 years.
Oh, it would have become like
it would have gotten landmark status.
Yes, it would have been insane. But and it was literally knocked down by the time the movie had like a big. Yeah, because like it wasn't hard to get a lane there. Like it wasn't a big line.
It's huge. It's like 32 lanes. I want to go to Jackie Treehorn's house, which has been in a ton of movies.
Oh, I've been there.
I was going to ask if you've been there.
Does someone own it?
Yeah,
there you go.
It's the Sheets Goldstein House by John Lautner. who designed all the homes in the studio we film in are John Lautner's.
That's what I was going to say.
Very
Yeah.
Jackie
It
Trio.
feels
You're
like
a
where
character's
you
home.
live.
Yeah.
in the
Exactly,
studio.
they're the
Yes.
same architect.
Right.
But it's one of the most. This is one of the most famous houses in L.A. And it's not on the beach in Malibu as they make it appear to be.
Right. They walk from the beach to
They which is pretty clever how they shoot it. But it's actually overlooking the city. It has an amazing view and is this incredible concrete house with this very kind of famous like honeycomb concrete roof and these like built-in.
It's got this roof with these little skylight, like these tiny.
It's an amazing house. It's really, really cool. And this guy, the guy who built it, who commissioned it from John Lautner, still lives in it, and he's
wild.
this, like, kooky old dude who like mostly rents out the house for like movies and photo shoots and stuff like
He's
that.
a big like.
I'm glad it
Laker
isn't
guy.
like Conor McGregor owns it now. That was
exactly.
my fear.
Right. The Nelk Boys. No, it's not. No, it's the actual Goldstein, the guy. Goldstein,
James Goldstein.
Yeah,
he's like a guy who goes to Laker games. He's a rich guy. I mean,
I've filmed there. I've done photo shoots there. I've done. But yeah, I filmed there like a whole couple days with Will Ferrell on something once, and like it was amazing. Like. It's one of the fun parts about shooting. Like you get to sort of like just be in these houses all day. So like you sort of get to like experience what it's like to really occupy time in these amazing homes. And that house is truly amazing, but it's to me most famous from this movie. It's in a lot of other movies. I think
it's in Charlie's Angels.
I was going to say in Charlie's Angels. Okay. I think they live in it.
Yeah.
Is it Sam Rockwell's house?
Maybe.
No, he lives in the Chemosphere, which is another John Lautner house. Which
very similar
is,
vibe.
It's like a house standing on a single.
Oh yeah, the one that's which is it's Troy McClure's house in The Simpsons.
Yes, and there's another movie, maybe a De Palma movie.
I'm looking it up. Yes, it's Body Double.
Body Double is also shot in the Chemosphere house. Yeah,
correct. Oh my God, it's
all good houses. All good houses.
And so where's your studio house? What's that one called?
That one is on Jeremy Scott, the guy who owned Moschino, the fashion line, now lives in it. It's in the hills, right about. And Silver, the one we shot the Sarah Polly episode in, is called the Silver Top House. And the one that Catherine O'Hara lives in is another
with the pool. That's
with
like
the pool.
is
another Lautner house. They're all amazing houses, and they're very cinematic. And that's why we wanted to film in them, because they are like in a lot of movies, and we thought it'd be like cinematically kind of
also
full circle.
The best
the
thing
show
about the studio is that it looks good.
Right.
I mean, you're
being built
very
around
funny and it's brilliant. And
these long takes, like those are amazing spaces to explore in real time.
Oh,
and
fully,
movement.
yeah. And they're designed in such a way that they're meant to be walked through, and so like they really have this like compression and expansion and like unconventional layouts that sort of are fun to unravel, and sort of as you turn a corner, it reveals a whole new space. And yeah, we really like piggybacked off of the design of these houses.
I will say this. I have talked in the 10 years of doing this podcast, A Decade of Dreams, I've talked greasy about the city of Los Angeles.
You mean you should talk to LA? Sure.
When I go to LA, people are like, we know you hate it here. And I'm like, oh God, I built that reputation for myself. A lot of that is very defensively as a young man trying to work in the entertainment industry, being like, I want to stay in New York.
A lot of people have that. I've
years.
I've seen that. I've seen a lot.
Right. I feel like this is dissipated now.
Get ground down
post-pandemic, but I had like 10 years of people being like, are you not serious about your career? And I was just like, I kind of still want to live here. I need to
totally live in New York and have a career.
Yes,
as you've proven as a employed housed man.
Yes,
he's housed.
He's housed now.
But like, I am housed. I love the studio. I think it's an incredible show. It's like a beautiful panic attack. When I watch it, I'm like, these are all the reasons I don't want to live in LA. The way this show feels. It's this. These are all my anxieties. When I watched Big Lebowski, I'm like, this is everything I love about LA.
It's a real love letter to LA.
It is.
Maybe to a slightly bygone LA.
But from similarly neurotic.
It's the LA I actually moved into.
Right.
Like it could not be more, because I moved to LA in 1999.
Right.
So like I moved into the Big Lebowski's LA.
Truly.
And I think about Knocked Up and like how you guys live in that big house with the pool that's like shitty.
Like the Birthday Boys
and
house.
And it's like, that was my old impression of LA. It's like, yeah, you can kind of, there's burnouts and weirdos and like it's so spread out that you can find all these pockets of people like the dude who just kind of like, what do they do all day? I don't know. They drive around, like doesn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, I'm allergic to Entourage LA.
Oh, yes. That's a bad LA.
Studio LA is the LA I have the love-hate relationship with.
Entourage, that show had a bad vibe for you? It's kind of aggro?
I love the characters, just to be clear. And I endorse all
love
of
the
their
characters
actions.
and their choices.
Their viewpoints.
It's just the cars and the buildings.
And their work. Most importantly, I admire their artistic work.
Exactly.
No, but this movie, I'm like, this is all the stuff I like in LA when I go visit and I hang out with my friends who are like this.
Who are unemployed.
And they take me to places like this. And the nights have these vibes minus the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly, like going to Ralph's in the middle, like that to me was a real quintessential thing, which might be a visual reference to The Long Goodbye now that I think of it, because it also starts with him at the grocery store. But I think that was, to me, that was like, as sort of like a stoner in LA, in the, like being at Ralph's at 3 a.m. in like an empty store, like is such a familiar feeling to me.
Well,
you know,
and so much of
like I would do my grocery shopping at 2 a.m.
Would you pay by check?
Yeah, exactly. I probably did.
So much of Long Goodbye has that of
Yes.
like this tiny figure in this big wide frame just wandering around mumbling to himself, doing banal tasks, right?
The movies are inextricably linked to one another. And it's funny because it is funny because I feel like Lebowski's kind of viewed as like, I don't know if satire is the right
But
word,
sure,
but sort
I know
of
what you
like
mean.
like a comedic take on these
Self-aware.
a more self-aware take on
Who's
these
the
detective
worst
movies.
character you could place into that type
Exactly.
of story?
And
Right.
The Long Goodbye is also sort of like a like and he's smart in that, I guess, is the only difference. And he's like a little more capable maybe, but like
Yes.
it very much is a similar vibe where it's like
It's sort of happening to him.
yes, it's sort of happening to him. He sort of doesn't quite get what he's sort of a step behind a little bit all the time. He sort of he's not like smoking weed, I don't think, throughout the whole movie, but he seems kind of stoned and out of it throughout the movie, basically. Yeah.
I mean, Sims and I are both very big Altman people, and he was like a big turnkey.
Do you like The
Since
Long
real.
Goodbye more than The Big Lebowski?
You probably do.
I probably do.
I've seen The Big Lebowski like 100 times.
Yeah.
My whole thing with it is it's just sort of one of those, it's very comforting. Beyond that, I put it on last night. I put it on the disc. It's so gorgeous.
It looks so
It's
good.
Like,
one
which
of
is
the
true
best looking comedies. Yeah.
Right. Like true of any Coen movie, obviously their movies always look
Got
good.
Roger
But
Deakins
it's
back there.
so stunning to look at and especially for a comedy. It is
We also
so rewarding.
just did our Drive Away Dolls episode very out of order, and watching these two back to back
Which,
is
like,
kind of
Yeah, what happened? What'd they do?
enjoy that movie a lot.
It's a cute movie, but you miss the like lush, like I mean,
Yeah,
Do you think that's a choice?
I think so.
I think
is
Drive Away
it
Dolls.
time?
We'll get to it in 10 episodes.
Just to preview
I
it.
break it down.
I think it's a little bit the movie being like, don't take us seriously. Like we're
I
having
see.
fun. It's silly, but I don't know.
But that is the magic. I mean, people always say this, right? Of like, you can't make a comedy look too good or it stops being funny. There's this adage that I disagree
I
with.
disagree with that.
Yes, and I think a lot of your work has been like a rebuke to that. But there is that sort of narrative sometimes of like, it just needs to be clean, bright, wide.
right.
shots.
Light everything as bright as you
Or
can so you can see all
just
the
fucking
jokes.
talking heads, like cross
that's the
coverage.
something about Mary,
Yes.
like effect, I would say,
Right.
is like, and Dumb and Dumber and a lot of those movies are just like bright colors, clueless. I mean, honestly, and that movie, I'd say, actually did it with
It
like
does
a
it
creative
perfect.
intention in mind.
Agreed.
Like they weren't just like bright. Like
Right.
there was, I think, a lot of reasoning behind why that was a good choice for that specific movie.
I agree.
But
and
I think as a result, I mean, I remember when we were shooting 4-Year-Old Virgin, I remember at one time, like coming up and giving Judd like notes on how I thought we could make the frame more interesting. And he looked at me like I had lost my fucking mind. Like literally looked at me like I was a crazy person.
Yeah.
And he was like, make the frame more interesting. Like, he's like, as long as you can see the boner, like we're good. Like, I think
Does the boner read in
the
widescreen
frame's
and full
interesting
screen?
enough. Yeah. I think we're okay. And it's funny because when we actually made Superbad,
Superbad has like a grain.
well, yes,
right.
and it's shot. Greg like shot it. You know what I mean? Like it's not all cross coverage. Like
Right.
he would do in the store. There's like it was very designed.
There's intentional shot
One
sequences.
shot will take you to this line, and then a new shot will pick it up for these lines. And I remember there was like some very heavy conversations that were had where Judd and it was just like, why are you not just cross, like you need to just cross cover this. And Mottola was like, no, that's like not what I'm doing on this movie. Like I will do it for some scenes, but that's not like what I'm just gonna do. And blocking is the thing where you feel it the most. Like, it's when the characters don't move. And this movie has a lot of great blocking. Like, The Big Lebowski is like an excellently blocked film. And the characters move in a very elegant way that serves the timing and the comedy and the scenes in like a really dynamic way, which I think is why it's not boring, even though it's like largely people talking in different rooms,
right, and
you know
not
what I mean?
light on action often.
Well,
yes.
so much of it, the self-perpetuating problem is you get into these zones where comedies have a lack of blocking because people are so worried about getting the correct amount of coverage.
Exactly, to edit it, to find it in the editing room.
The amount of movement and readjustment of positions that will cause more angles versus something like this where you just see that the Coens and the Deacons are like, these 3 actors are locked in.
Yes.
We can get this in a 3 shot in which they move 6 times and we only have to punch in for like 2 specials.
I'm going to look at our research now, but like the thing I think of most, and probably what baffled people initially, right? Like, hey, let's go see the new Fargo guys movie. Why is it about like stone bowlers doing nothing? Like those scenes where it's like Dude, Donnie, and Walter.
And Donnie's over the shoulder.
And Donnie's over the shoulder and he keeps
behind.
turning around. And they are all 3 having separate monologues essentially at different speeds, interrupting each other at the same time.
Without cuts.
I don't know how you do that and have it make any sense. It makes perfect sense. It's so
that's
funny.
Like watching fucking like Fred Astaire dance with a hat rack.
Yeah, when I first moved to LA, my manager had like a library in their office of like scripts, like just hundreds of scripts. And one of the first things I did was I got the script for The Big Lebowski because I wanted to see how those scenes were
like literally laid
out. And they are written exactly as they are performed in the movie to like the half word.
Right. So they have it. It's not like 3 columns of dialogue.
No, it's like this, telling you exactly when the interruption comes and when it goes back to the other person. And I remember reading it being like, oh my God, like these guys like plotted this out into a microscopic rhythm.
Right.
But then I was like, oh, and that's why they could shoot it in a 3-shot because they're not finding it. And it felt improvisational to me. And I, even on Freaks and Geeks was the only thing I was making at that time, but we did a lot of improv and cross coverage and stuff. So that's sort of how I assumed you had to capture that sort of like naturalistic, interrupty idea. But then I was like, oh no, these guys just wrote it.
Yeah,
like they actually broke it down and the actors just did it. And that was very eye-opening for me, but I think it's why the movie is allowed to look good.
I mean, I feel like I will now always envision the straw man exec characters in my mind as the studio characters, but you just imagine people looking at the shooting schedule for this and being like, guys, so your plan is the only way to get this sequence is for the actors to get it perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no contingency here. The only way this works is you get a take where everyone nails it.
That's not allowed.
And that's like terrifying to people.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Which is why they're just
as someone who's done that, they don't like I can tell you that they don't love that.
But it's the stuff that makes Coen Brothers movies feel like, how did this fucking happen?
Yeah.
That everything is so perfectly constructed and also feels kind of loose and miraculous.
You want to say something, Benny?
Well, I think we should get to the research.
Yeah, sure,
but
sure.
I have a little surprise.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed you've covered something on a table with a shining blanket.
Yes. I brought the accoutrement to make a White Russian.
We should do it.
Yes.
We have to.
We have to.
Seth did text me, if there aren't White Russians in the studio, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
No, I had to do
there
it.
better fucking be White Russian.
Yeah.
All right. Ben was trying to surprise, and then I arrived at the studio as he was arriving, and I was like, why do you have a bag of ice? And he's like, I was going to do a whole thing.
Some Caucasians. I like how he calls them Caucasians.
I like that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, then 4 White Russians.
Please.
Coming
Let's
right
do
up.
it. Yeah.
I, as I told Ben, don't think I've had a White Russian since I was like 20 years old.
I haven't had one since I was at that bowling alley.
Right.
where
They are
shot the
so
Big Lebowski.
disgusting. No offense to the drink I'm possibly about to sip, but
I
remember
hate
once-
milk.
They
in
taste good.
yeah,
They're not a good drink to like
But the
consume and
notion-
like a lot.
It'll
Like,
fuck you,
yeah.
your stomach.
Well,
Like-
being 20 and like, because when you're 20, you're just drinking to get drunk. So you're having like 4 or 5 or whatever is you're drinking, and then a White Russian's a disgusting thing to drink.
Yeah,
such a bad thing to ingest.
Right, because it's doing other things to your body at the same time that are not cooperating with the drunkenness.
I was at a bar with a girl in college. and
Humble
she-
brag.
Yeah, and she told me like, oh, they do good White Russians here. And then the bartender asked what I wanted. I said like a White Russian, and he was like, get a real drink.
Wow.
And I never, ever ordered a White Russian again after that. Not that I would really want one. They're gross.
They are kind of gross.
So, okay. All right.
It also,
I am gonna, as Ben
I
does
watch
whatever he's
him
doing.
carry you know what he's doing. He's making 4 White Russians. I watch him carry them in the movie, and every time my brain immediately goes to like, God, that glass is so dirty.
Yes.
It just looks gross as a
Looks
drink.
gross.
Why do you think he drinks White Russians? Do you think the Coens are just like, that's funny? Like, that's a funny drink?
Well, there is a dude.
Yeah, there is a dude, and we'll
And
talk
I've-
about that.
I've-
There's kind of 2 guys,
I've
right?
met
But
one of them.
is the main guy, and you probably met that guy.
I have met that guy.
And does he drink White Russians?
My
Like, did they
assumption
steal it
is
from
yes.
him?
My
Right, okay.
assumption is yes.
So, okay.
Our friend Connor Ratliff, friend of the podcast, made a great point talking to him the other day that it's so funny that Fargo is like the pinnacle of their career up until this point, right? The anointment moment, they win the Oscar. It's their biggest crossover hit.
And it's one of the best movies.
Oh,
It's the best.
perfect.
Nothing wrong with it. We love Fargo. I do want to point out, and JJ put this in the research, and it is crucial to note, Big Lebowski is a script they'd had for a long time and had been trying to make throughout the early 90s.
It was their Pineapple Express.
So
we
was-
can only get this made once we have
Once
it.
we have a hit.
Yeah.
And according to JJ, it might have come first, but Goodman, before Fargo, but Goodman was making Roseanne. Jeff Bridges was making White Squall. Never forget that.
Never forget.
He got like 10 buckets of rain dumped on him every
The movie that
minute.
like created QAnon.
Really?
Yes.
Because the storm is coming?
I think it's where
It's like-
where we go one goes all.
All the quotes
Yes.
in White
Are from
Squall
White Squall?
have become QAnon models.
That is maybe the weirdest part about
It's like how
QAnon.
Proud Boys.
Everything else,
I don't say this
kind of makes
lightly.
sense.
Of all the stuff I've heard, to me the thing that makes least sense is
It's like how Proud Boys is all spun out of a song deleted from Disney's Aladdin.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, proud of your boy. Yep. There's a song in Disney's Aladdin where Aladdin's mom sings that she's proud of him. They decided to cut it because it's boring.
Right. And then they grabbed it and said, like, Disney cut this because they don't want women saying that men are good.
Oh, well, that's
30 years ago.
they knew.
And we need to be Proud Boys. We need to create the Aladdin's mom that never existed to make us feel proud.
All right.
Doesn't that make them a lot dorkier?
I mean,
So-
not that they needed help.
So the Coens, it's a personal movie in a way in that, yes, it's based on dudes they know.
Oh, can I just finish this thought? The Connor part, it's
Go ahead.
tied to what you just
Go
said.
ahead.
That he was like, I think part of the legitimacy bestowed upon Fargo as these guys have stopped fucking around and made a real movie was the false selling of Fargo as a true story.
Yeah. It's so true.
Which lent some weight, and all the weird Coenisms of it. People were like, well, but they didn't make it up. I guess the story's just really quirky. And that Lebowski, people are like, what the fuck is this? This is bullshit. This came from nothing. And you're like, the
It's
movie
more
is
real,
based
right.
on 2 real people.
That's so
So
funny.
The
this guy-
circumstances aren't real, but the characters are very much riffing on real people.
So there's this guy, Pete Exline, who is like one inspiration, who had been like worked for Michael Douglas and then was a professor at USC. There's this guy, Lou Abernathy, but who's sort of like a Walter type. But John Milius is obviously a big inspiration for Walter.
The
who they
Zen
knew.
fascist. Yes.
Right. And then this guy, Jeff Dowd.
Yes.
That's the guy
That's the guy you're talking about, who is sort of like, he calls himself the Pope of Dope. And like, he was a member of the Seattle Seven,
Yes.
which like the dude
make a
says he
joke about.
was.
And was he an
Right.
entertainment lawyer?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just like a, and I
Film
just feel like
producer, actor.
he
Right.
produced Fern Gully, among
Yes.
other things.
There you go.
And like when you look at him, because he's still around,
He looks
He-
like the dude.
and he kind of feels like the real Kramer from Seinfeld, right? How
Exactly.
that guy was kind of like, I'm
Yes.
going to cash in on being Kramer.
Yes,
Like he's still just kind of being the dude. And
And-
you've
and
met this guy.
I have met him.
Yes.
And he was annoying.
Cool. So Peter Exline, the thing with him is they were at his house one time. He's some fucking USC professor guy. And he had a really shitty rug in his shitty house that he would not stop saying really tied the room together.
That's really funny.
So they never forgot that. Exline, when they ask him about it, talks about this fake Persian rug where, I mean, he admits like that it was a conversation piece in his shitty house. And Exline once told them a story about his Mazda getting stolen. And then when he found it in an impound lot, it had like a 14-year-old's homework in it.
Oh, that's really funny.
So they never forgot that either. Like they have a lot of like little weird anecdotes from these crusty
That's
Hollywood
what this movie
guys.
feels like. It
Right.
feels like 20 years of incubation of like a notebook of things that got stuck in their craw of like, that's funny. And how could we unify all of this
yeah,
into one
and I remember
guy's
me and
story?
Evan hearing that and that actually being very inspirational when we started writing Pineapple Express, literally. Like I remember us thinking like, oh, you can sort of accumulate a bunch of ideas and create a narrative that allows you to bring them to life. And
Right.
you don't have to like start with the story. You can start with a bunch of little things and then create a story that sort of architecturally supports these ideas.
And like, can you build a character strong enough that can hold all of these separate things that becomes greater than the sum of its parts? Yeah.
X-Line also was a Vietnam vet who could not stop talking about like would bring it up all the time. And so they did have that in their heads. I think this movie is very wisely set at during the Gulf War.
Right. It's 92,
91 or 92,
yeah.
because it's like we won the Gulf War so fast. We like ripped through Iraq so fast.
Yeah. And when David said one, he gave 2 thumbs up just for the listener.
Woo! And I do think it's quietly making Walter matter. That like America just crushed some fucking war.
Yeah.
And he's still this like piece of shit Vietnam vet that, nobody likes thinking
cares
about that.
yeah.
Right. Obviously, John Milius, who I feel like just sort of the aggro energy, right? The kind of like the way he looks, the way you hear about John Milius is just being like eternally ready for war in a weird way.
But he described himself as the Zen fascist.
Yes.
Right. That it was this
What
weird
class
balance
did
of
you
the
get
things.
there?
I got an Indiana Jones. And,
Beautiful.
Okay.
And the Great Circle.
It's the Xbox game. This was a promo item for their IHOP menu. I want you to know I spent a lot of pan coins to buy that. Yeah, you're originally okay. Let me take my Lactaid before this fucking cocktail.
That's vodka and milk.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's like very nostalgic to me.
Yeah,
it brings me back to 1999 to the bowling alley. It's quite good.
It's not bad. You know what?
Yeah,
I actually like it.
So they and like Milius is he's a fake vet. He didn't serve in the military. He had all his paraphernalia. So
well,
he's
the other thing with Milius.
They met him when they're making Barton Fink, I think.
Yeah. Spielberg had great Milius stories
because he
was like, that guy's amazing.
Because he was kind of the old.
He was like the old guy. Yeah, he was like, and he had success sort of before
when they're all coming up.
But he was the badass of all the movie brats, which is to your point. Like this guy wasn't actually a Vietnam vet,
right?
And it wasn't that this guy wasn't extreme, but it's like George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Brian De Palma are all like, this guy's unreal, Which is like, it fits into the same character where you're like, Walter isn't actually powerful within his world.
No, but around these sort of like meek dudes, he's
he's self-selecting. Like, why is he hanging out with Donnie just so he can tell Donnie to shut the fuck
exactly
up?
Why.
Right, exactly.
Now, Jeff Dowd, the guy you have met who was in the Seattle 70s, he claims he does not drink White Russians.
Okay.
He says, hey, man, sometimes it's Harvey Wallbanger. Sometimes it's Tequila Sunrises.
It's always a silly, stupid drink.
That does sound like it's true.
And like old-timey
named drinks. Yeah.
Ethan Coen's take is basically like the dude is kind of personally more like Jeff Dowd, but like, with these mixed in other anecdotes. But the physicality is kind of that guy. And like, that's maybe the most. But then also you hear that like Bridges contributed a lot of the clothes. And
he's like a California guy.
Yeah, like it feels like he's tapping something in himself that he maybe hadn't quite tapped yet.
Yeah, it's
just like how True Grit turned him into like an old cowboy.
It turned him into that guy. Yeah.
Every movie he makes after True Grit, he's like, and like for a while after Big Lebowski, he was the dude.
Yes, he was the dude.
And then when he does.
I think if you see him on the street and you recognize, and if you either say to him, "Hey man, I love the Big Lebowski," or "Hey man, I love True Grit," you'll get a different Jeff Bridges depending on which one you say.
I do feel like
and if you say I love both, he'll give you a really funny.
Have you ever met him?
I have maybe one or two times. And I ran up to him and I went the Lebowski route and I got a very dudish response. And it was amazing. It was lovely.
It does feel like the dude has either become the closest thing to his like default persona in life, if not as an actor. Right? Because even like the year after this is The Contender, where he's back in like the most handsome man in Hollywood.
I remember
he went Ezekiel Stain for a while.
He went Stain. He went full Stain.
He cleaned the stain. He went back.
No Tide pen could fight this stain.
It is so funny that Iron Man had to run through him before he deals with Thanos.
Yeah, like a space alien. You take out Jeff Bridges first, Bridges, then a space god.
I'm going to build a slightly bigger suit than you.
I like negotiating.
obviously, they start writing the script. James M. Cain is their blood simple, like, Miller's Crossing is Dashiell Hammett. This is Raymond Chandler, right? Like they're like, it's perfect dressing for this plot.
Have you guys rewatched The Big Sleep recently?
Not in the last 10 years. Like, I've seen it several times. I never know what's going on at the end, which I know is part of the point.
It is
sexy and cool.
Right. Yeah. I watched it for I think the first time, like a few years ago. I was... Some parts of it I really liked, but I was mostly like, what the fuck is going on? I love Humphrey Bogart. I think Humphrey Bogart's just like maybe the coolest.
He's the coolest guy ever.
And like is unbelievably watchable.
He's so cool in The Big Sleep. Yes. He's playing a guy who fucks.
Yes. He's so cool in that movie.
Like in Casablanca, which these are all movies I love. In Casablanca, he's like, I don't fuck anymore. I just have this bar and I'm sad. In Maltese Falcon, which is my favorite of his movies, he's like, I need to figure out what's going on with all you assholes. Like, but in Big Sleep, he fucks. He's just being a cool motherfucker. He's
just kind of cool. But it is similar, where he seems kind of confused as to what's happening throughout a lot of the movie.
Right. The spectrum of those movies, which are all kind of about perfect style, these impossibly cool leading men, and these undecipherable plots, right? Yeah. And then Long Goodbye does the modernist version of that, which is, this is who this guy thinks he is in his mind. We're placing him in a modern context. The world at large is not in sync with him. Yep. The kind of like stylish voiceover narration is now just
being like mumbled to
this
himself,
guy mumbling
like
as he's feeding cats, right? And then Big Lebowski adds the additional distance of, what if this guy doesn't even know he's in that type of story, and the narrator is someone else who he barely meets at a bar, who can't even finish his thought.
He can't even quite remember, doesn't quite understand what's happening.
Right.
That is, rewatching it, it's funny that it's like some things like that where you're like, oh, this is so much weirder than I remember it being. Like the Sam Elliott narration is much stranger than I remember it.
It's strange
because why they call him the stranger.
But it's strange because he's doing a bad job.
Yeah.
Like as a narrator.
And they kind of paint him as like this all-knowing guy, but he doesn't know anything.
He gets lost in his train of thought.
Land the plane.
He interrupts the movie to be like, do you have to curse so much?
Yeah,
and Jeffrey's just like, what? And he's like, don't worry about it. Like, it's very funny, but it's
weird.
We talk about this kind of like, my favorite kind of Coen dialogue is this like big chunky monologue that is like a freeway that takes off ramps and merges back into the freeway, where characters like answer the questions they pose themselves. And that's usually done in such a rat-a-tat, fast-talking way. And you got Sam Elliott, who's going to slow that down to a molasses crawl, but then you're also going to have him not figure out how to get back on the highway. You're like starting with a broken version of a Coen monologue.
Yeah, and it's like starts with like narration that doesn't work. Yeah.
Right. So, but nobody in this movie makes sense. So like you've got the dude who moves through every plot line, sort of competent, but like also not paying attention, and then will be like saying things he heard in the last episode.
Yeah, he repeats a lot of things.
Right, he repeats things that don't really, and then you have Walter, who literally makes the wrong decision every single time and like works himself into a frenzy. And then the final wrong decision, I feel like, is pulling the Big Lebowski out of the wheelchair. I mean, like, the funeral's like a coda, but that's sweet. But like him being like, this guy walks, and at this point, you're like, I swear to God, he's not gonna do something about it.
You haven't hit once.
He's gonna.
It's one of the greatest scenes in any.
It's just fun. Like, there's a classic Coen story in that they like wrote 40 pages, and they were like, that's interesting, and they got stuck, and they like put it away, and then they put it back to explain the narration. They say he's like an audience substitute, and like Chandler's stories always have a narrator, so we kind of wanted like but like they can't really explain this.
It's a smart decision to be like, you couldn't have Lebowski narrate this movie because that gives him too much of a connection to the story. He has to be pushing against it. And what the big driving force for Lebowski, as you said, like him wanting the rug back is the active choice he makes that keeps the whole movie going, right? But that choice is driven by, this guy wants to do nothing. Yeah. The only active thing he does is to try to reset back to the status quo of where he is at the beginning, which is, I'm unemployed, I like everything in my apartment, and I have my routines.
And I have
I got my roach clip, I got the White Russians.
Yeah. But the thing that does stress me out is, if he just got the 20 grand initially from the, job he fails to do, it feels like the dude could live on 20 grand for like
forever,
5 to 10 years.
Right?
Like he doesn't seem to pay rent anyway.
No.
He barely eats.
He like abhors that level of ambition.
I know.
His pride in being unemployed.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, they set it in like the more marginal LA, Venice Beach, the Valley, Pasadena, or whatever. You know, like that's what they were interested in. And then Pete, one of the inspirations, is a big softball guy, but they were like, bowling is like makes more sense. It's aesthetically more pleasant. It's very male, which we think is like we want these guys to just be sitting around.
It's also weirdly rhythmic in a way that feels very Coensy, of just like the kind of repetition of the role and the sounds and the wood. And yeah.
Now, the craziest thing, obviously, is their first choice was Mel Gibson for the dude.
Whoa.
Which is so wild.
That is wild.
Do you know which role Mel Gibson would have played well?
He would have
He would have killed Walter.
No one could be better than Goodman, but he would have done a great Walter.
Yeah, he actually would have. He's maybe too scary. Like Walter, there's like an impotence to Walter a little bit.
Yeah, he does need to be
like,
not actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if he had played Walter at the time, people would have said, "Where did this come from? This is an amazing transformation." And now we would have said he gave us all the clues.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all there.
We'd be like, oh. And Mel Gibson as himself as Walter.
Gibson reads the script, is like, this is kind of funny. There's no way I'm not going to do this.
So
like, this is
fun.
like Ransom era Gibson or whatever. Jeff Bridges famously is kind of like, especially back then, like a waffler. Like he would like flirt with projects and not decide what to do. He was like kind of tough to nail down. He was like, should I play like a pothead? He had like teenage daughters and worried he'd set a bad example. I mean, this feels very old fashioned.
Still in like near peak handsomeness era too. He's kind of like a B-list movie star, like a really sturdy studio leading man with a lot of Oscar nominations under his belt. But it felt like he was at a comfortable level of like, his handle
movies,
mid-budget.
What were the other big
dramas.
Jeff Bridges movies around this?
It's like, you know, Fearless, which is a great movie, is
Morning After.
Peter Weir movie.
Peter Weir movie.
Yeah, where he eats the strawberries.
Yes. Blown
Great
Away is 94 with Tommy
man.
Lee Jones.
There's two movies called Blown Away, and I always watch. One is that one, and one, I can't remember. Is the one with Corey Haim and Corey Feldman? Maybe
That sounds right. Let me look this up.
Yep.
I like that Tommy Lee Jones one.
And they're both from around the same time.
Tommy Lee Jones does the worst. Is he supposed to be Irish accent? Maybe in the history of.
Yes, it's Corey Haim and Nicole Eggert.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the one you're talking about, right?
And Corey Feldman, both Corey.
That thing, like Blown Away, Patriot Games, Devil's Zone, like when like IRA guys were like a Hollywood
it was a cool
villain.
IRA.
Right.
Yeah. That was a good target. That was a good easy villain for
Bridges was kind of like, $40 million movie that has a green light.
I'm going to give you the rest around
Harrison Ford turns it down, get Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, like, but it's like, obviously he did The Fisher King in the early 90s. That's a great movie. But
closest to this.
He did The Vanishing remake, which is like okay. He did Fearless, Blown Away. He played Wild Bill Hickok in like a biopic that was a Walter Hill movie,
Yeah.
but wasn't a hit.
Yeah.
White Squall, which he's like good in, but it's him just like yelling.
And was good
like,
for the culture.
Good for the culture.
And then Mirror Has Two Faces, which we covered on this show. Barbra Streisand, your former
co-star.
Fucking
which that movie is. Have you seen The Mirror Has Two Faces? It's a really weird movie.
It's about her. She like changes her face and yes. I listened to her all 50 hours for autobiography recently.
It is more similar to Big Lebowski than you would imagine, and that it just sort of has these weird.
The last thing he'd done before the Big Lebowski. And then right after he does Arlington Road, which feels again more like another Blown Away.
I like that movie.
The movie's fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
A cool movie.
But he's like the king of kind of like adult counter programming mid-budget studio fare. While being a very beloved, respected actor.
Anyway, his daughters are like, what do you get? Do whatever movie you want. And he says he was sort of like, I guess I am kind of like the dude. I do sit around all day smoking weed.
Mm-hmm.
Although he says he did not smoke weed while making The Big Lebowski.
He's a professional.
Right. And he said that like the script is written like the dialogue is written. Like he said that once in a while I would put in an extra man and it would fuck up the line. Like you could tell, like, nope, they already balanced every line out.
Yeah, when I did the table read, it is weird because like you are, you kind of just do it. And it is one of those things where like, it's like just by reading it, I'd be like, it's happening. Like if you just say every word, it sounds exactly like the dude. It was really remarkable in a lot of ways. Like,
well, you are so good as an actor, a writer, and an improviser. And I feel like you have a skill at being able to take material and put it in your own voice in a way that isn't fighting against the movie. But then also, like the movies we've covered that you have been in, those are things where it's like, you got to play this part. You got to fit into this. Yeah. This isn't you making it your
own. Not a lot of riffing. Yeah.
But like Steve Jobs is something where it's like, you have that monologue, which I love so much, that is like 7 unbroken minutes where I'm sure you cannot move like a letter.
No, what's weird about Aaron Sorkin, though, actually, is he was... If I would go to him, which I did a few times, and was like, "This is a little weird coming out of my mouth," he'd be like, "I'll rewrite it." Like,
okay, he's a Hollywood guy.
I was completely. If anything, he would give it back. I'd be like, "I think like you changed too much of this." Like I literally thought like these few words could be adjusted, and he'd be like, "No, I realized it." Like I was actually all I had heard was precious. How rigid he was. Right. Tony Kushner, I would say, was more someone who has put like an insane amount of thought into every word choice in a way that I had never even considered as a writer. Like what sound, literally, like what the consonants, what sounds they make when, and you know, when you say you, it has a certain power, but when you say you guys, it means something totally different. And when you say I, like, and it was stuff like that where I was just like, oh my God, like this is a level of like overthinking perhaps that I don't engage in. But then what was funny is Steven didn't care. And so he would just be like, say what, like he almost had, man, the funniest part of that whole movie to me, and this is like the perfect example of that conflict in a lot of ways, is like there's a line in the script where Paul Dano, we're arguing, and then Michelle comes out and starts dancing in front of the fire, and we kind of start watching her. And in the script, as that's happening, Paul like quotes like a famous like James Joyce poem or something like that. And I would, Steven doesn't rehearse ever. Like, so if you want to rehearse, it's incumbent on you to find time to do it, basically.
But basically he's shooting the first block.
He doesn't want to rehearse. Right. He's like, I don't want to rehearse. And he's like I honestly like don't want to talk about the acting. Like, he's like, I don't want to talk about it. He's like, do it, and I'll tell you if I want something different, basically. And so me and Paul would get together at my house sometimes to rehearse some of like the more dialogue-y scenes. So when we showed up on set, we weren't like,
when you got to be dropping like science and math.
Exactly. Especially it's all these words I literally don't know what they mean. Right. And we kept rehearsing it. He kept being like, this one James Joyce line, like it might not be that, but let's pretend it's like, he's just like, this is the line that like, I'm really like, I'm kind of finding it hard to say, but then I kind of keep rediscovering like what it might be about. And I've been talking to Tony Kushner about it a lot. And there's been an interesting back and forth about this line. And he's like, but to me, like this line is so important and sort of like summarizes the whole thing in a lot of ways that like, I want to just make sure that I do it right. And then we're shooting the scene and we're blocking it. And Steven's like, so we're on you guys. And then you say this, Seth, and then at that moment, Michelle comes out, and I'm going to pan with her, and she goes over there and starts dancing, and I'm filming her dancing. And Paul's like, well, if you pan away from me when she crosses, like I say my line after that. So the shot won't get my line. And Steven's like, oh, forget the line. Yeah. And I just thought, like, I literally, it's like Paul looks at me and it's like, what? Like, forget the line. And you can see, and you know, but to Steven's credit, he's also like, it's like, I'll shoot it. Like, don't worry. You know, like it doesn't matter. Like if I'm directing this properly,
I'm in charge here.
It doesn't make a difference also. Like, he's like, trust me, the shots will tell the story properly. Yeah.
It's a thing, especially when we rewatch, like, I can't think of an example of this in Lebowski, but especially when we rewatch like some of the most totemic, quotable, repeated movies of all time, where you watch sequences and you're like, they actually aren't covered in the way you remember in your mind's eye, where you don't see that actor's face during the famous line delivery.
Oh, for sure.
There are so many examples where it's like an off-camera, over-the-shoulder, and all logic would be like, well, if that's the big line, you need to get it in a close-up with them like selling it.
Oh, I'm always saying that. I mean, it's like some of the biggest laughs in our movies are like off-camera lines. Like, literally, like you don't care at all as long as you hear it.
Big Lebowski, just to wrap up the research, Walter, written for John Goodman.
Really?
No choice other than John Goodman for the Coens. Goodman says it's the best movie he ever made, best thing he ever did.
He is unbelievable in this
He's
film.
unreal. Did he get he should have won an Oscar
He
for this
should have.
movie.
There's no awards for this movie. No one gave a shit.
Because their previous movie had won a lot of Oscars.
You're totally right.
It's really weird. And again, I think it speaks, like what I was saying before we started rolling, is like, I feel like there has been this like people did not like this movie when it came out.
Really?
And my memory is it got bad reviews. And I was actually shocked when I went on Rotten Tomatoes and had 80% or something like that. I was like, that is not what this was.
You can't trust Rotten Tomatoes for an old movie.
Can we sidebar here for a second?
Please.
The Cinematrix. I don't know if you play the Vulture Cinematrix.
I do Cinematrix.
A great game.
Yeah.
Our friend Joe Reed, who runs that. Shout out to Joe Reed. We gripe every time there's a Rotten Tomatoes score as a prompt in that.
Yeah,
because Rotten
it's not
Tomatoes
real.
is a living text.
Yes.
Beyond it being a bad metric, it's a living text where you're like, well, I can start my website tomorrow called like grifflikesmovies.org and be like, Big Lebowski, 100%. And then that will up its tomato score versus what I want is, how was it received at the time?
Well, I also think a lot of like, I mean, I could be,
You're right.
I'm almost sure like the Hollywood Reporter like republishes new reviews, so they're not on the wrong side of history. Like no one liked 2001 when it came out, and now it has like 100%. Like they whatever publications gave it bad reviews. And what's funny is I feel like I said this once on Twitter or something, and like I got like attacked, like savaged
on Twitter.
Exactly,
by the
but
Killer
by
Tomatoes.
movie critics who were like,
really?
That doesn't happen.
No,
they don't do that. And I was like, they do. That happens. Like the General. I'm looking at this General thing over here. Like people didn't like that movie when it came out, and now you go on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 100% or something. But it's a real disservice, I think, to people who are interested in movies, because you are not getting the actual context of how these movies were received when they came out. And if you gave the General a bad review 100 years ago, you should shut the fuck up and deal with it and eat it.
Also,
and
congrats on being 115 years old.
Exactly. And if you've made it to that age, you should take the ding and fucking accept that you were on the wrong side of the General, just as you were on the wrong side of 2001 and the Big Lebowski.
Just how the character in the General was on the wrong side of the war.
He was.
And we should acknowledge
that.
When you look at Metacritic, which does a pretty good job trying to find like the
actual
of the time reviews. Like,
and it's also better at not being a consensus, but being a sense of how positive the reviews were rather than what percentage.
And it has a 71 on Metacritic, positive. And even that I imagine is a little inflated by later stuff. But you see like Ken Turan in the LA Times being like, film feels like totally thrown together haphazard.
Yeah.
And like, I
Which
get
is
it.
Crazy.
It's crazy. I can sort of understand critics sitting down in 1998 for this like Fargo follow-up and being like, I don't fucking get
it. It's like so composed and it's so
that's the thing.
Deliberate.
It's tight and intricate.
Were they just spoiled at the time? Like that there were just too many good-looking movies? I don't know.
I honestly think maybe like
you see like the Associated Press were like let down. Strange for the sake of being strange, like just like has nothing to say, bad inside
People treat
joke,
it like it was like Epic Bacon
slam.
the movie, and they were like, it's all just rando shit. A thing I saw a lot of critics at the time repeat is it basically doesn't have a story. That just saying like this movie is just this meandering series of like bullshit with no story, and you're like, if anything, the slam should be the opposite.
Yeah, there's too much. Well, there's a lot of plot. It is an unconventional script. Like
it is.
It has like it but I think almost that's what's oddly magical about it, is it sort of forgoes a lot of traditional things, but remains incredibly entertaining and watchable, I think, in like a moment-to-moment basis. And even though you don't quite get what the fuck is happening, you really want to know what happens next. Like, because it's so funny and like the characters are so interesting, but it is, I get why it would be challenging to people at the time, because it sort of is from people who you like are used to kind of getting their work, I think. And then it's also at a time when comedy is like so big, and
yes,
not very,
it is. Yes,
and not very like conversational. Like I think that's actually, I remember when we were making 40-Year-Old Virgin, we were writing Superbad. Like we were so inspired by this movie, me and Evan, because we were like, oh, they actually like swear as much as we do when we talk. Yeah. And at the time, that was like crazy.
That was like
you couldn't do it in a movie. Like like all these movies.
Did it was a Scorsese movie where the point is these are the worst people on the planet.
But even something about Mary, they'll show you like a fucking like gaping asshole.
Like 5 fucks in that movie.
Yeah, but like they aren't casually profane. they're kind of very innocent, and that was always a thing that I like really was kind of a fan of, and something that my work would later reflect. I'd say in many ways, but that was to me like, I think that's why it's aged well. Is it's sort of more reflective of comedies that came out
that are
10 years later.
Which is probably
you
the
know?
seeping of them. I mean, it is literally like you guys taking stuff from it, and then people taking stuff from you guys,
and then us
the
making,
movies you made,
and then us making movies in 2006 and 7 and 8, and us talking about this movie a lot, honestly.
But you think about, there would be those stupid repeated stats of like the Guinness Book of World Records for most fucks in a movie.
Yeah.
And there were always like 4 movies that people would repeat. It was like Casino, Goodfellas, Nil by Mouth held the record for a while.
Nil by Mouth, they only say the word fuck.
Right.
That's the thing. It's the only word spoken is fuck.
It was movies
like
where
that
it's
Jerry
like
movie.
about like murderous criminals, or movies where you're
It is
like,
good. Gus Van Sant.
movies where that's like the stylistic choice, right?
And Jerry does have the most Jerry's, right?
Yeah.
It's in Guinness Book of World Records.
I think so.
Only second to Tom and Jerry.
Well, because that has a lot of Toms.
That
It's
more Tom,
splitting
they
the vote.
balance it out too much.
It's splitting the vote. But then I know you guys talk a lot about like Kevin Smith influencing you in that way, and that's a movie where people talk the way that people talk. His first,
and that's the
couple
way he
films.
talks. Like,
It's certainly the way he talks.
It is.
And then like you guys kind of like put that on a mainstream scale where there is this shift post, like, I think so much about that summer where Knocked Up and Superbad come out within 8 weeks of each other.
Yeah.
And it feels like the entire culture shifts.
Yeah.
Of just like all of this is now just understandable by everybody.
Yeah, it was, but I think like, even when we were making 40-Year-Old Virgin, I was like, they should be swearing casually all the time. And that was like my biggest creative contribution to the movie is I was like, we should be smoking weed casually and swearing all the time. And there's 2 things that are very much from the Big Lebowski.
Yeah, because like 40-Year-Old Virgin, that's sort of Steve's movie. Like
it is
that
for
he
sure
brings to
Steve's
Judd,
movie.
right?
And he and I was brought on as like
it was kind of a character he'd done at Second City,
exactly.
Right?
And I was brought on as like a co-producer to help write the script and to rewrite it as we were doing it. And that was always my thing. Is I was like, there's going to be an R-rated movie. We should fucking go for it. Like we should have them. I remember and Carell was very uncomfortable with it.
Right.
And
he's
the
from
juice of that movie.
prior generation.
Yeah,
like,
and he didn't want to swearing. I remember I had to write a whole script that was like, there was no swearing in. Like I had to like redo every scene, and I was always coming up with clean versions. That's where that Kelly Clarkson joke came from. Because I literally was tasked with like, what are not
what
profane things that he could say, like as he's getting waxed. And I even remember like there's the scene where me and Rod are playing video games and we're saying, I know you're gay, and we're smoking weed like from a pipe in that scene. And even that was like,
are you sure?
They were like, this is crazy. Yeah. Like
it was Dylan going electric.
Yeah, because it was also like there was never people smoking weed if the joke wasn't that they were smoking weed. It was always if they were smoking weed, it was the joke. And if but I was like, people just sit around and smoke weed also. It's not always the joke. And I remember when we did it in the theater, people like burst into applause just like because at the sight of 2 guys smoking weed and playing video games and like swearing. And at the time that was like somehow revolutionary.
The thing about that movie, and I do remember, I mean, like the first time I saw it in a theater and all that, is you're also watching all those characters kind of realize they all like hanging out. Like at the start of the movie, they just like work at the TV store and they hate it, and like you're watching them, they all want to hang out and talk about their dicks.
You say 40-Year-Old Virgins. I mean, the first image that pops into my head is him sitting uncomfortably at the poker table.
Oh,
it becomes the boob conversation. But
that, the Bag of Sand. That's like the movie that like the idea of the whole movie is based on. Yeah.
But also that is the motor that you just described of this guy doesn't like all this cursing happening around.
But it sort of worked for the movie.
Yeah, all the friends, you guys all react with like, can we get you laid?
Yeah.
Like, instead of being like, we don't want to deal with you.
Yeah.
That's why the movie's fun.
It's
like,
sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fun to hit each other with the fluorescent light bulbs.
Yeah.
That was something that me and my
friends
friends
Adam McKay's. I remember we did a table read and Adam McKay. That was his strong pitch. Was
whose idea was
breaking light bulbs?
David Caruso and Jade.
That was me
greatest.
for
Great.
sure.
Because I was going to say
greatest
that
line.
feels
Yeah,
that's
that
the best line.
100%.
Okay, here's
That and Carell being like, I know
Oh
exactly
yes,
what
of course.
that
I know exactly what you mean.
There's another thing. We mentioned that a lot on the podcast. I often cite it as my single favorite line of dialogue, the funniest line of dialogue in any movie. And I need to know if this came from you and Evan or from Hader. In Superbad, when you're driving McLovin around and you're doing Star Wars impressions, and then Hader turns back and he goes, Yoda from Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, that was Bill Hader.
Okay.
That was the funniest joke. That was so stupid. That was
so
us really making
funny.
ourselves laugh.
Yoda from Attack of the Clones.
Yoda from Attack of the Clones. It was so stupid. Me and Bill loved fucking with Christmas Ploss, who was a child at the time.
right.
And I remember
brand new child that you found.
I remember we were talking about the movie Short Circuit. Like we'd film all these scenes where he's in the back of the car and me and Bill would just talk, and we were talking about Short Circuit. We were talking about, oh yeah, it's like we're just kind of reminiscing. It's like, right, it's like the robot, he gets struck by lightning, that's what brings him to life. And Chris is like, what do you guys talk about? And we're like, this movie, Short Circuit. And he's like, oh, what is that? And he'd never heard of it. And Bill goes, it's a documentary about a robot that comes to life. And Chris is like,
got hit by lightning.
And I feel like this was like maybe a little before like everyone just was Googling everything all the time. And for like several weeks, we convinced Christmas Boss that Short Circuit was a documentary about a robot, which made the Fisher Stevens playing an Indian guy even more confusing.
Sure.
Right? But
This was real?
You're like, that's the real guy, huh?
But I feel like, to your point, right? Like, you guys had this sort of like devotion to this idea of why are comedies not reflecting a certain like social reality, right? And that in sort of studio logic, these things need to be justified as that is the entire point of the movie. If you were making a stoner movie, it is Cheech and Chong. Yeah. Every scene is driven by these guys' overwhelming desire to get their hands
smoking weed in a van made of weed.
Right, that's the
look at an object, they turn it into a bomb.
Right.
Yes.
Right, and it's like, if weed exists in a movie, it is either that or there is a set piece scene in which a character
one scene where someone smokes weed and has the crazy
and then they like fuck a bucket or whatever.
Exactly.
Right, and those are like
or
the
it's like
only
half
two
baked.
things.
Yeah, it's like all about
right.
That.
Similarly, if a character's cursing a lot, it's like this character's a bad person.
Yeah, they're like a mafia guy or something.
It's one scene of John Polito.
I went to college in 2004, and I do think part of the thing with this movie is like there weren't a lot of good stoner movies.
No, there were almost none.
Like there were Cheech and Chong or whatever, but that felt very old fashioned.
Which I actually think it's one of the reasons it struck such a big cultural chord. Like
100%.
I really think that
the culture was swerving that way.
Yeah, and when we made Pineapple Express, we could just see that there was like so few good things that even like had the care and attention put into them as like any normal thing put that for people who smoke weed, or even like mentioning people who smoke weed in a respect, like giving them the respect of actually like crafting something that is like worthy of watching. And this movie, I think, was probably like cathartic to a lot of people in a lot of ways, because you're like, oh, like the Coen brothers, like some of the best living filmmakers.
I mean, and just like
weed.
And I will stop sucking your dick after this, but just like with Superbad, like I'm watching that. I was when did that come out? 06? 07?
It
07.
came out
so I was
the summer between my high school graduation and going to college, which I was just like, that was like watching the movie in 10DX.
But, yeah.
It was the most visceral. I watched it like 5 times.
I was right out of college. I just graduated, but still, right. I felt like that was a movie where it's like, they want to fuck, but they're pretty scared of it.
Oh, yeah.
Terrified.
And like there weren't like sex comedies were instead about like guys who were like, 28 years old playing 17-year-olds being like, I can't wait to get laid. And Superbad is them being like, I'm interested, but I wouldn't know what to do, and I'm scared.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and like, I don't think I'd ever seen that in a movie like that way before.
No, like Michael Cera in bed with Martha McIsaac. I was like, this is like the eyeball being cut in chandeliers. You're finally tapping into the most like primal terror in my being.
Yeah, it's like the girl's hornier than you.
Yeah.
And what do you do with that?
What am I supposed to do
What
here?
do you do with that? It was, and it's very reflective of our real life experience.
But like to on-ramp back, I mean, all of this is
Big Lebowski. Come on,
but all of this is like
it's heavily
connected.
inspired by the Big Lebowski.
I know, yeah.
Very directly inspired.
I always think about you and Evan talking about
and the three. I'd say Evan and Michael and McLovin is inspired by
trifecta.
Walt and the dude and Donnie.
That energy,
For
like
sure.
Jonah is
That,
very much
like
Walter. Right.
that like palpable sort of aggressive, argumentative dynamic to us was something.
And
really,
even the like shut the fuck up Fogel.
literally. I mean, literally.
Yes. No, I was going to say, I've heard you guys talk about so much how like making movies it's so difficult and so many things can go wrong and it can be so embarrassing and demoralizing that it's kind of like it's not worth doing unless you have an idea that you're willing to die to make.
Yeah.
And that you talk about when you were like started to write Superbad and the years of you trying to get it made when you didn't have like the clout in Hollywood. You were like, we would die to get this film made and no one else gets it because it's like a fucking high school sex comedy, but it means this much to us that there's something we have to say. And the dismissal of Big Lebowski at the time is so weird with this attitude of like, are they fucking pranking us? Where you watch this and you do feel like this is a movie they were willing to die to make.
And they're like, we'll use all the cachet from winning Best Picture and put it into this like stoner comedy.
It has that like weird level of urgency and thought to it of like, we have always wanted to make this and this is the only moment where we can
where we have the cachet to do it.
Yeah. The movie cost $15 million. And Bridges, apparently when he got like the whatever lowball offer that like they sent him, was like, you guys just won an Oscar. You can't pay me more money. And they were like, we want the budget low so they won't fuck with us.
It's another thing I think about a lot.
Like, we would
you
do
guys
the
have
same.
talked about the post Green Hornet thing of like, you guys learned the lesson from this movie got too big. Too many people had to weigh in on every decision. And I cite it all the time in this podcast that you guys will pitch films as like, what is the budget number where if it's below this, you don't give us notes?
Literally. Yep.
Right.
That's basically it.
Where it's such a bargain that if we can get these actors, you'll
There's
just
always,
leave us be.
and to us now, it's the number where it's like, what is it? What's the number where there'll always be a bigger problem they have to deal with?
Right.
Like what? Like as long as there's
You're
a
like
more
8.
expensive movie going off the rails, they'll just never get to us.
Right.
They don't have the infrastructure. they have too many other holes to plug.
It's just like 6 guys at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
But they've been so smart about it where it's just like their 2 biggest movies are Hudsucker and True Grit. Hudsucker's their biggest flop. True Grit was their biggest success. But both of those still were like $50 million.
Not out of control.
They've just always kept it at a level where like it allows them the hits and misses to all even out.
It's so smart. Yeah. And they clearly shoot in an efficient way. They clearly plan everything. I mean, I remember watching this and it was so funny because it was like right when we were making all of our movies. I remember watching like all the behind the scenes features for it and see how they like storyboarded every single shot of the movie. And I'd made 4 movies and never seen one storyboard in my entire life. And was like, oh, wow, that's like a really different way of making things. But you see a lot of it is so you can be efficient. And so you can shoot the stuff that has like scope in a very quick and cheap way. You know?
Right. So what do you want to say about the Big Lebowski?
I think we pretty much said it all. Thank you all for listening.
No.
This movie starts, as we said, with
you paying for the milk.
Well, we're pushing.
Oh, the stranger with L.A.
Right, literal
the
tumbleweed.
Start to see some sort of CGI looking tumbleweed maybe on the beach.
This is an early CGI movie. Like them doing the dream sequences and stuff. Like
the dream sequence weirdly works so well as like a time capsule
like
of screensaver.
Yes.
It feels
aesthetics.
Also, you know what else is good about it?
Yes.
Jeff Bridges is so locked in
he's so funny.
He's having so much fun.
He's incredible in this.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Jeff Bridges gives a good performance in The Big Lebowski.
No, he's incredible.
And what is striking about watching it now is actually how clearly he speaks.
Right.
Because I think the Jeff Bridges thing has gotten so accelerated in what we talk about, the fucking like Billy Goat Gruff chewing on a tin can.
Yeah, no, he's very, and his voice is sort of high. Is what's interesting. Is it?
He's kind of whiny.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's like a high exasperation, which
he has such a good take on how to play this guy that is not the obvious way of doing it, which is this guy wants to believe he's not affected by anything, and yet he's very easily annoyed.
And he's very worked up about everything that happens. Yeah.
And, because the inciting incident is, of course, Jacob from Lost and another guy stealing his rug. That guy's always Jacob from Lost.
Well, they piss on the rug first.
They piss on it, and then they take it. Yeah, actually, it's a good point. Why do they piss on it before they steal it? That
do
seems
they
bad
steal it? I don't think
they steal it later. That's right.
Yeah.
They piss on it and they beat him up.
No, they just piss on it and they think he gets rid of it.
Yes.
Which they don't show.
Yes.
You're right. And they
put his head in the toilet.
Put his head in the toilet.
And they really leave him in there for a while. I feel like that's the first time I clocked
And even
that.
still, that's sort of like a shrug, and it's not until they get on the rug that he's like, come on, guys.
You're
to me, one of the best
golfer.
details, and it's like, it's something... It's like I remember when we were blocking like the fight scene in Pineapple Express, like showing the fight choreographer, Like, and it always left such an impression on me when the guy's like rushing into the bathroom and his bowling ball hits the door frame and it like it like breaks off a chunk of the door frame. It's just so awkward and weird.
Yes.
And again, like sets a tone for like a world where just like nothing's going right, kind of in a weird way. And I remember being like, they clearly did that on purpose.
Yes.
But it's such a cool little detail that sort of shows like the sloppiness of all of this.
The pineapple fight is so good in that same way where you're like, this is given the amount of space and time as if it is like a Jet Li set piece.
Yeah.
And yet it is all just people who don't know how to fight in a shitty apartment
really
causing
sloppy.
collateral damage.
Yeah. The whole joke was like how hard it actually would be to knock someone unconscious.
Right.
And so the fight would just have to keep going.
Right. By the way, that's like what the Coens said was their main impetus for Blood Simple, is they're like, movies make it seem like it's really easy to kill someone.
Yeah, it's probably hard. Yeah.
It probably takes hours.
So stressful.
And people are just close to death for so long.
So his rug is destroyed. He goes to his bowling alley.
They clearly are looking for another guy.
They're looking for the Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And
after like an amazingly cinematic opening sequence, which I think is also like what's so interesting.
At the bowling alley.
At the bowling alley.
Yeah, such a good tone setting.
It's so like indulgent in a weird way.
Yes.
But like shamelessly cinematic at the same time, I think.
I love the tum-tum shot.
Yes.
The guy. That's so fun.
The guy who does the little like shimmy. Yeah.
But it's also like why this movie is centered in the world of bowling, right? It's like,
which is also why like to call this movie like thrown like haphazard is so crazy. Like it's so clearly composed.
I agree with you. Like they talk about it like just some like indie comedy that was
like
made
you
for
have to like
$5.
build special sets that like capture like that allow the camera to like pass through like the bowling ball
giant like Deakins wide lens shots.
But this idea of like the
obviously like Busby Berkeley musical sequences with bowling alley dancers.
This idea of like the middle-aged working man's like weekend sport or
bowling's so fucking funny.
Right.
I love bowling. I really love bowling. I did it a ton as a kid because like it was a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't go to a bar yet.
Right. I loved going to the arcade and bowling alleys.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Still do.
I went recently the Gutter in Williamsburg. I go there all the time. It's like so shitty. Like half the time the pin thing doesn't even work and you have to be like, hey, and they're like, oh, sorry. And like everyone is unathletic. Everyone looks like a complete dork. Like especially in like the bowling world.
Anyone who takes bowling seriously, bowling leagues,
like they're all weird. But you kind of love them.
Culture is permanently stuck in the 1960s. You're like, this is a late 90s movie where all of the vibes of bowling,
like the aesthetic is like the Drew Carey show,
are like 1960s style shirts, literally.
Am I wrong? Has anyone updated it since?
Well, even the shoes are so like just caught in that
bowling
time.
culture is all stuck in like 1968.
Well, no, now there's like pins. Is that what it's called? There's sort of like hip bowling.
Is this like influencer bowling?
It's like the Top Golf of bowling, kind of. Like,
okay, I don't know about this.
They have them around LA.
I'm looking at it.
See, I was gonna say,
yep.
I feel like there's like, there's like cool singles bowling, but that's different than like people who make their life be built around
I don't
bowling.
want that. Like I want to go to a shitty bowling alley with stars and neon and
like
hang out.
$2 beer.
Drink shitty beer and just sit, because like so much of bowling is sitting.
A lot of it you're mostly not doing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you do your turn, you're like, how much do I like sort of shimmy
it's
or
probably like
show off?
40 seconds of stuff for every 8 minutes of not stuff. Yeah.
And so he's
and
shooting
also
the
that
shit.
part of it is that like when the most exciting thing happens, there's a good chance that no one's
paying attention except you.
That there's like 2 thrilling seconds.
You see what I did?
I'm eating mozzarella sticks.
And you get to celebrate, which is a really fun part of bowling. As you come back to your seat.
There's like a walk. There's like an organic sort of walk.
You have an end zone dance.
Yeah.
So they go see the Big Lebowski. Now, I love that it's David Huddleston, who's just like a character actor guy that's in a... They wanted like Robert Duvall, who like read the script and was like, what the fuck is this? Like they went to all these big shots for that.
That's really funny.
Probably destabilize it, because the whole point is that this guy isn't really important.
Like they asked like Anthony Hopkins, they wanted Jack Nicholson, Gene Hackman, like all that makes sense. But like, I feel like it's perfect that he's this kind of, you can immediately understand that he's a loser.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like I've seen the movie so much that of course I know he's kind of full of shit. But I feel like you know
He's
that
a
right away.
cartoon
He does-
version
he's
of a
the
rich
Oval
big
Office.
shot.
He doesn't
not
seem
a real.
particularly strong.
No.
Right.
Or imposing.
But he's like one of the guys in the boardroom in Hudsucker. You're
Yeah.
like, even in a movie that is heightened, this guy is an affect of a wealthy, powerful person.
Well, also you meet Brant first, who's
Right,
such
who's
like
so
a fucking blowhard. Like
God, he's so
it
funny.
might truly be the single greatest split 3 card in the history of cinema.
Yeah.
There is one card that is Philip Seymour Hoffman, Flea, Leon Russum. The great Leon Russum, who plays the sheriff at the end, who is my
Right.
beloved pull the cork man in True Grit.
I love that guy.
But I'm just like that. The fact that the bench is so deep, and this era of American cinema where it felt like there is a clearly identified consensus pool of the 25 greatest character actors alive. And in the second half of the 90s and the early 2000s, the 5 best directors are all pulling from it.
Yeah, all the time.
And you're like, the amount of overlap between like this and Boogie Nights,
Yeah.
you know, like there's
Yeah, it's true.
this pool of just like, hey, you know what? Any movie that has some combination of
I know. This movie's missing Philip
Buscemi,
Baker
Philip
Hall.
Seymour Hoffman,
Yeah.
right?
You need Philip
Julianne
Baker Hall.
Moore.
Yeah, you need
Like
them all.
you're cooking with gas if you get 6 of these people, even if they're only going to pop up for 20 lines.
they auditioned a Murderer's Row for that role. Like
I remember-
Paul Giamatti.
I remember Paul Rudd auditioned. He told me
Brandt?
he auditioned for Brandt,
Makes
and
sense.
he like performed for me what he did, and it was like the weirdest thing in the entire world.
Did you see him perform it after having watched Philip
Yeah,
Seymour Hoffman?
yeah.
Right.
Saying
So
like,
you're you
here,
can't
like
live
this is
up
what
to
we
this
were making
anymore.
for Audio Virgin. I was really
Right.
talking about how much I like that movie. And he's like, I auditioned for Brandt, and it was humiliating, and I made the weirdest choice in the entire.
What did he
world.
do?
He did. He was like, he did this like weird, like hello, like, and he like. I just remember he had this like weird,
Like a cartoon butler.
like a cartoon butler, like that guy from the cartoons who was like, yes,
Yes, right,
why yes. Like,
it is the magic of Philip Seymour Hoffman, and our friend James Urbaniak has talked about this, but that he auditioned for an off-Broadway play in the 90s and was just like, got the audition, was like, this is my role. This is a James Urbaniak role. Post Henry Fool, who else is going to get this part?
Yeah.
And he doesn't get it, and he's furious, and he goes to see it opening night, and he comes out, and immediately, from the first second on stage, he's just like, this is the only guy who could have played it. He is making a choice I never would have considered, and it feels so bizarre and out of left field, and yet it is, in retrospect, the only right choice. And like, he's taking big swings with this part. It's not like he's not doing weird shit.
oh, he's doing such weird.
his
The
reaction-
weirdest part is when he repeats the line,
Yes,
and I could never.
he resets.
That I genuinely don't know if it was supposed to be in the script or if he just
I don't know.
did it, but it is
But it's
like,
like-
so weird and
it's so
seamless.
robotic.
Yes,
Because he doesn't
so-
even reset to the beginning of the line where
Yes.
it could be an edit point. He goes back 4 words.
It's so
where you're
weird.
like, it wouldn't even help
Yeah.
to have this. And
There was a movie I was going to be in, and then I didn't do it, and then he did it, and I remember, and I've talked to the director.
Capote.
No, it was that.
Just
it
trying
was
to think
that.
of the weirdest.
It was called The Boat That Rocked. But then,
The Richard Curtis.
Yeah, and he wanted me to do it, and I couldn't do it, and then he got Philip Seymour Hoffman, and then I saw him after that, and I was like, "You really lucked out." And he's like, "Honestly, I did." he's like, "I feel no remorse to tell you that like, he did a much better job than you would have done. He's a much better actor than you are. The movie turned out much better as a result of him having done that role inside of
I
you."
do just
Right.
kind of think he's the best to ever do it.
Yeah,
I think he's like the best screen actor of all time.
Yes.
And I think the argument for that is every single performance.
Oh yeah, he wanted me to be in the movie he directed.
The Jack Goes Boating?
and I met with him, and he wanted me to be the star of it, which was
to play the part he ended up playing.
yeah, and it was one of the most flattering moments of my life.
Because it's like, yeah, I can see how.
But I remember saying in the meeting to him, like, A, I would be honestly too scared to act for you every day.
Right.
And B, like, you should do it.
play-
You are a better actor than
you
I
know
am.
that you
I was
are
like,
Philip
do you know
Seymour
you have
Hoffman?
access to you? Like, are you aware that
Is
you
no one giving you
that
your
you
headshot?
know you? Have
Right.
you been told you're technically unavailable for this? Because
Yeah.
I don't think you are. you should do this.
Yeah.
You're the best actor.
Yeah.
There's no better actor. And then he did it.
Yeah, and was good.
He's like, you know what? You're right. I am a better actor than you.
Great advice.
I love how all your stories end up with someone being like, by the way, I fucking crushed it.
Yeah, exactly. You were right.
Another thing in blank check lore I need to invoke.
Oh, what's that?
You auditioning for James L. Brooks for How Do You Know?
Mm-hmm.
Was that for the Rudd role?
Yes. I auditioned for the Rudd role.
Right. Wait, what is the? I don't know what this is.
Well, it's a crazy story.
I will let you tell the story, but it's the greatest audition response I've ever heard.
It's pretty funny. Where I've known Jim as they call him, James L. Brooks. I've known him for a while, and it's like one of the great gifts of my life that I know James L. Brooks. Like, it's incredible. I wrote a Simpsons episode once, and he was very helpful, and he was amazing, and he's come to our table reads, and he's just Judd got his start on The Critic, which was a James L. Brooks show, so he was sort of like in our orbit always. And so he called me when Superbad came out. He's like a huge fan. Like, so he's making How Do You Know? And he calls me into audition, and his audition process is like crazy, and I go in, and Reese Witherspoon is like there, like, 'cause she's already cast for the movie. And for the audition, we're like in his office, which is at Sony, I think at the time. And he basically shoots the scene, and it's like a 5-hour audition. We're like, we do a master, calls me out of the room and gives me direction. We do another take.
Are you just in an office then?
We're just in his office.
Okay.
Sitting on a couch. We do another take, calls me outside, gives me more direction. He starts giving Reese direction. I'm like, she's cast in the movie. Like, what are you doing?
But he needs like full simulation of what the day would be.
Full
like.
simulation. And so we spend, I'm not joking, 5 hours shooting this scene. And then I don't hear anything. A couple weeks go by. And I'm like, maybe I'm going to do this movie. People ask me what I'm going to do. I'm like, oh, maybe got this part in the Jim Brooks movie, which is exciting. And then I remember it so, I remember like where I was. I was like walking across the Sony lot where he also was. It's where our offices were. And I got a phone call, and they were like, Jim Brooks calling for you. And I was like, oh, cool. And then like a second goes by, and like the first words out of his mouth are, he goes, not even close, pal.
Not even close, pal. It's one of the greatest lines ever.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I was like, what? What are you fucking talking about? I was like, it's been 2 weeks. It took you 2 weeks to get to not even close.
Also, like, damn, this guy's a good writer. That's the right line. That's the best line someone could say in a James L. Brooks movie.
So funny.
He's not even close,
it made
pal.
me laugh so hard.
Did he then couch it all? Then go like, but I love you.
No, he was funny. He was like, honestly, watching it, I realized you're just too young. Like, he was like that. He's like, and that's what I've been wrestling with for the last few weeks. He's like, I liked what you did, but I keep just thinking maybe you're too young. And he cast Paul Rudd, who is, 10 years older than I am, or something like that.
But it's like, Seth, I have Jim Brooks for you on line 2. Not even close,
not
pal.
even close, pal. Literally, that was how it sounded. I have Jim Brooks for you. Cool. Not even close, pal. It was, I swear to legitimately God. Hilarious.
Wait, how did we get to that? It doesn't matter.
We're talking about Brandt.
The
only thing I want to call out
his laugh when she says, "I'll give you a blowjob for 100," is the most
truly amazing.
I wish I could laugh like that. Like I could do that kind of like I want to kill myself laugh on command.
That's one of those lines I think there's almost like a Tourette syndrome that kicks in. Like when you realize you can quote the Big Lebowski, if you're a fan, you have to. Like when someone, and I'm not proud of it, but it is something I find myself doing. And whenever someone says that someone's a nihilist, I say, oh, that must be exhausting. And people look at me like I make no fucking sense in any way, shape, or form.
You're trying to speak the language.
Yes, I'm trying to speak the language. It's
like what like Monty Python and the Holy Grail was. Like this limited canon of movies where you're like, it truly has 1,000 lines that you can repurpose into any conversation.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to call out is in the meticulous sort of table mood setting of the bowling, you do get the introduction of the Jesus, who is given the pomp and circumstance as if he is the Darth Vader of the movie.
I mean, the fact that this movie is like, let's pause for a minute and
introduce this guy.
Right,
6 minutes in,
and do a whole Eagles underscore, like do the whole thing for the Jesus.
My favorite shot in the whole movie is the shot of John Turturro having to knock on the door of the guy to explain he's a pedophile. And like, it is truly, and honestly,
it is beautiful visual storytelling.
Like in Superbad, we directly reference it when there's a scene where McLovin's like explaining how he saw a girl in a thong in the hallway.
Oh, yes,
and like that is a direct ripoff of that moment in the
cutaway
Big Lebowski.
To something you could already imagine. You're not getting
that's very mundane, basically, and benign, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah. That's already being very specifically explained in the first place.
It's so funny, and him just being a little dressed down. That he
looks different. You see, like in the bowling alley, he's a different guy, kind of. Like he's sort of like a cool cock of the walk in the bowling alley, but in real life, he's a pedophile.
He is an
8-year-old dude.
But like that, it's like all these men who are losers. God bless them. Like
Smokey.
This is where they're happy.
But also,
and like this is where they're themselves.
It's a movie of self-styled like mythology, right?
Yes.
That everyone is like, here's who I am. You know my thing. Here's my reputation. They are people. They are like sketch comedy characters in a real world.
Smokey's a pacifist.
Right.
Smokey's a pacifist.
Everyone
He's
has
got
their
like emotional problems.
Their bits and their look, and they're just like, how dare you don't know my game?
Right.
What my thing is.
And then like Donnie is this kind of blessed. He's like the fucking pinball wizard from Tommy or whatever, where you're just like
he's arguably strikes.
The
all
only
he does is
normal
throw strikes.
character.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But also it's like
bowling savant.
You feels like you couldn't have a conversation with him like about anything. Right?
There's
like,
the read that he does not
like
exist.
That. Yes.
Sure.
Really?
Because no other character in the movie addresses him. We have this porch replica in our office, right? There's a replica of Ben's childhood porch that he used to watch movies on. We did an art show earlier this year.
Movies?
We built it as part of the installation. Very cool that you know what porch movies are.
I know what some porch movies are.
And then had it moved here to the office. The guys who came and installed it in the office, I came in when they were finishing up. And they went, hey, what do you think about that theory that in Big Lebowski, Donnie isn't real? And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, you could go down this rabbit hole. There's this whole theory because only the dude and Walter ever reply to him, that no one else ever acknowledges him.
That'd be a weird shared hallucination.
In which he exists, right.
When he dies, this funeral director gives them someone's ashes, unless that guy's in on it.
It's why it doesn't make
It's not a good theory.
But I said to them, like, oh, interesting. Yeah, we'll talk about that, I guess, when we do our Big Lebowski episode. And they went, oh, you're doing a Big Lebowski episode? And I went, why did you bring this up to me? And they were like, I don't know, we heard you liked movies.
We heard you guys were in a movie.
But it also speaks to the proliferation of this film.
Yeah.
Right? That like two carpenters were just like, hey, you're a movie guy. Can I talk about Big Lebowski with you? That's the #1 movie I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, because it is this movie that has
it's
like
kind of an art movie also.
It has a mystical sense to it that you are like, what is it about?
Is there
like,
something
I feel like
to
if you
solve here?
Watch it 100 times.
Yeah, it is like the weirdest cross-section between like an art film and like of incredibly mainstream like comedy.
Silly
basically.
comedy.
Yeah.
Because like if I describe the plot of the Big Lebowski or attempt to, it's like the rug gets stolen, he bugs the Big Lebowski about it. And then because that connection is made, the Big Lebowski tries to use him to recover.
Well, that those guys
try to use
stole
it to
the rug
embezzle
because
money,
they thought
basically.
he was the Big Lebowski.
He
He's
realizes he can use this idiot to embezzle money
like
to himself.
The Big
basically.
Lebowski, right, is stealing $1 million from his own
Charity,
fund.
Yeah, from his own, yeah.
And he's going to use
And he
Jeffrey.
knows his daughter keeps track of the money, so he had to concoct a plot in order to account for $1 million that he's trying to steal.
His young wife has gone missing on vacation, but her nihilist friends have seized it as an opportunity to pretend that they're holding him ransom, which
And
he sees as an opportunity to launder his own money.
Exactly,
Yes. To give it back to himself away from the fund that his
It's
stepdaughter
a
actually
weird
managed.
plot for a movie.
Or
the
she's
movie,
his biological daughter?
It is his biological daughter.
Maud is his biological.
But the dude is progressing through things one step at a time. So he's always like concerned about whatever. Like, we lost the bag. We need the briefcase. But obviously, at no point does money change hands. At no point is there money for him to have.
Oh, it's a briefcase full of phone books.
At no point is Tara Reid in trouble.
Nope.
The only person who loses a toe is a nihilist, and she doesn't care about anything.
She sacrifices it.
She sacrificed it. But she's mad about it.
The great
she
Amy
is
Mann.
pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Iconic no dialogue, or she says pancakes or
She orders
something.
pancakes.
She says pancakes. And Walter says, I thought you guys were nihilists.
One of my favorite things is, of course, that John Polito is watching all of this happen in another movie, essentially.
And it's like, pretty good movie over here.
And he seems to be from like the 50s. One of the best gags of the Big Lebowski is the picture of the farm where he's like, we think it'll make her homesick, and it looks like some fucking Dust Bowl picture.
Shitty
of like,
industrial, like.
But also his Pinto, it's like the spectrum of like.
Right. He's driven from another time.
Bogart is who everyone at the center of a story like this wants to think they are, right? Polito is who they actually are.
Yeah.
And Lebowski is the guy who doesn't even want to be in it.
Polito's so funny.
He's so fucking funny, and God
the
bless
way his
him.
like whole like stance he's in when he thinks he maybe has to fight the dude really made me laugh.
I mean, one of the funniest things about Polito in this movie, right, is also him just being like, "Are you a genius?" to the dude, and the dude's kind of like, "Yeah, maybe."
In the Miller's Crossing episode, I was talking about how they didn't want to audition him for Miller's Crossing,
Right?
Well, have you met?
They knew him as a pretty boy actor.
Well, I was going to say also like I've met John Polito.
God bless his. God rest
Few
his soul.
people are more different from how they are. In
Oh,
real
really?
life.
Was very even keeled.
No, he was like extremely flamboyant.
Oh,
He was an out gay man. He was a married,
but like an incredibly like flamboyant gay man.
Like it's like old fashioned.
Yes,
like,
and not like a tough Italian.
He was like John Waters.
Yeah, like he was like Harvey Firestein. Like literally, like in such a lovely, disarming way. I think he auditioned for something we were doing, and like I just remember him like sort of like perching himself literally like on the edge of the thing being like, what's the direct? It was he was adorable. Like there's no better word for it. He was absolutely adorable. And I'd only known him from these movies.
Makes me love him more, right?
Yeah.
You expect like this guy to walk in,
hey, how you doing? What are you doing? And he was like, hello.
Bursting blood vessels. Yeah.
What's your correction about John Polito?
No, I said that he had been a pretty boy actor and they didn't want to audition him. They wanted him to audition for the Dane because when they had last seen him, he was very skinny and had a lot of hair. And many people on the Reddit got upset
because he never had hair.
He never had hair.
No, he was skinnier and a little like more.
There is Pretty Boy Polito
But
you can find in earlier crime movies.
Yeah.
There's a tube he wears in like 2 or 3, but it's even a receding tube in his early 20s. But then he just it's like one day he suddenly had this look, and he was the perfect guy to play these characters that were so different than who he was.
My big take on sort of the dude and Walter, right? Who are like, because like you watch the movie enough, you kind of start to be like, why are they friends? And then you watch it more and you're like, they have to be friends. Like they're essential to each other's like continued happiness, right? Like
it's a yin and yang thing. They can't exist without each other.
Right. Walter hates like what's happened to him. Right. He hates that the country isn't whatever he wants it to be. Right. Like Walter, it's just like grievances everywhere.
That he basically lost his mind in service of a war that didn't matter.
And he lost his wife. He became Jewish.
He stayed Jewish.
Right. He stayed Jewish.
If you will it is no dream. According to Theodore Herzl.
And he has the QAnon energy of like, how are you guys not angry about this? Like everyone should be screaming at all
also
times.
The energy of like, he hears one thing and he's like, it must be true. Right. You know, like where it's like she kidnapped herself is something the dude just idly thinks.
I can make the connections.
The dude, like we all say, is actually kind of like, does get kind of grouchy and but he does have this vibe of like, he stopped caring about changing the world 20 years ago. Yes. Like he was once, you know, a radical in the true sense.
He's given up, it seems.
And now he's like, can I just fucking chill out?
But he's neurotic about his principle of trying to do as little as possible.
I know so many people like that, especially when I was younger, who were so aggro about how they had to chill out all the time.
Yeah.
Where you're like, can you relax? And they're like, I need to chill out. You're messing with that. Like they would just always seem to be searching for some like sublime chill zone that they could not reach.
Which takes so much effort, right? It's part of his branding of the thing. It's like, why does he drink White Russians? It's because he needs to have a thing.
Yes, he has a thing.
He needs everyone to call him the dude, except the way he dresses, what he drinks, how much he doesn't want to deal with this bullshit. It's like this very purposeful, like I knew a guy in high school who was bathrobe man. And it had that energy of he just wants to show up and be like, oh, this? I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And you're like, there is so much.
You put a lot into this.
And I'm sure it was, by the way, directly influenced by Big Lebowski. It must
have been, yeah.
But he was just the guy who showed up to the parties with the bathrobe, and yet every night he would be making out with someone incredibly hot.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, how does fucking bathrobe man do it? And he just sold the narrative of what he represented strong enough in a way that when you're 15, people buy. And the dude exists in a universe where people can see through it enough because he's at an age where it's no longer cute.
So I can't go through the plot scene by scene because we'd lose our minds. But like the threads are like Julianne Moore as this kind of
performance art, but also visual art, kind of Fraser Crane mid-Atlantic accent.
Did you? What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying, like, for whatever reason, one of the lines that always stuck in my head and was always so funny to me, and again, it's something I think as we were writing was very inspirational, is when David Thewlis is there.
That's who I was going to bring up.
And he just keeps laughing. And it's a line that has its own dedicated shot as well, which is just when he's standing next to David Thewlis, who's in the chair, and he goes, "Who the fuck is this guy?" It's so funny. It's the only shot. There's one shot for that line. It never goes back to that shot. It's just a weird wide shot where you see the dude like head to toe standing next to this guy.
It's almost a meta joke of him saying, like, do I need to learn another character this late in the story?
Let me now tell you the thing I was going to say, which is they wrote that whole scene without that character. And they were like, this is kind of a lot of exposition. It's boring. What if a funny guy was sitting in the chair too?
And what if
like, let's add a weird British,
an incredible actor, like the most
one of the greatest actors
coming off of fucking Mike Lee's Naked. Can you sit in the chair and be,
just giggling
annoying.
like a fucking weirdo the entire
Did you see, Seth? Did you see the reveal? And this goes to Ben as well. David Thewlis is in Avatar 3.
He is.
Yeah.
He is a character that James Cameron has promised has a small part in 3, but it's the long play, and he's really going to pay off in 4 and 5.
Great. Sold.
And they posted a photo of David Thewlis Navi, and I just sent it back to Sims, cropped close up on the lips, and I went, they got the Thewlis mouth right.
They got it. James
the Navi has those Thewlis
him and like span him around in a gyroscope.
$200 million. Weta didn't sleep for months, but they cracked the Thewlis
They got his
mouth.
weird pursed lips.
Maud, apart from like knowing her dad is full of shit, knowing her like stepmother is full of shit, like she also wants to get Jeff, the dude's sperm.
She wants a child, but she wants a child that she has no relationship to the body father of,
right?
To put it in.
So is it just that like Jeff
Kevin
Bridges
Costner
walks
terms.
into rooms and people are like, "You are Jeff Bridges"?
It is. This is the
Like,
thing. I like that this
kind of a
movie
fucking
acknowledges
star.
that
Right.
even though Jeff Bridges in 1998 is clearly putting work into trying to look worse,
Trying to.
he still is Jeff Bridges.
He still looks great.
He's got the greatest eyes in the world.
His hair's great.
Yeah.
Fucking cool looking.
Yes.
He just looks cool. Yeah.
Right. And she's just like, why not? This guy will never show up, and that's what I'm looking for.
Right. It's like he's the perfect mix of like good looking, tall, but also would never bother me. And then like, what are the other threads? It's like, Ben Gazzara for one scene is the great Jackie Treehorn.
Who
Yeah.
doodles,
Who doodles himself with a giant cock.
The funniest, maybe the funniest line to me after rewatching the movie is when they go to the guy's house. They find the paper in the car, and they go to the kid's house, and the father's in like the
Iron Lung.
Iron Lung.
who was not even the creator, but he wrote many episodes of Branded.
Of Branded.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And he goes, does he write still? And the lady goes, no, he has health problems.
But even just the Coen moment of walking into the house, seeing the Iron Lung before you can even make out there's a person in it.
His little
and
head
Goodman
just-
immediately going, that's him.
That's him.
And Brandon is like a real fucking Gunsmoke also ran.
Right. It's like a shitty Gunsmoke, exactly.
Yeah.
That ran for like,
That was like more
250
racist. It was
episodes.
called Branded because it was about like fighting the Native Americans.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think it was pretty racist.
Yeah.
And did they use the Branded theme song later?
Yes, I think so,
Yeah,
right?
in the
They
movie.
used
It
it.
was the first time I noticed it was this time. Does he write still? No.
I mean, imagine again, you're a critic at the time. You're here, like you saw Fargo, right? And like, cause that scene is like an hour 45 into a 2-hour movie. Do you see what happens when you fuck a stranger?
They have never made a very long film. All
No,
their
this is
movies
kind of their longest
are
movie.
under 210.
Yes. Almost all their films are under an hour, 45 minutes. Like there's only a couple that are even longer. And like, I can imagine being baffled by like, wait, why do I need to watch this now? Like, Walter going insane.
Where is this going?
And it doesn't go anywhere.
And you're like, the answer is the kid stole the car that sucked, that got back to him,
Right.
and the briefcase is missing, which never had money in it anyway.
Right. So it doesn't matter.
Well, I think that's the answer. Is where it goes is you kind of can see that there was nothing in the car, nothing
kid
of
just
value
did a
in the
joyride.
car.
Right.
Yeah,
The
that it
kid
was a
doesn't
joyride.
answer, and maybe if he had kept money, he would have been more protective and defensive, even if he was not speaking.
Like, that's the thing about the Big Lebowski. Like, the scene where the dude explains it to the two cops is so funny.
So
it
funny.
doesn't.
Right? They're like, "Good luck with that, buddy." Well,
Right, but like,
that wraps up the case of that.
what's the joke they say that we're like, we'll have to take shifts on this?
Yeah,
one?
no, he's like, you guys got any leads? They got leads. Please, they got us working in shifts.
Yeah.
But and like all those scenes like are like ultimately you're like when you pull the movie apart, like yeah, this is all meaningless or
Well,
whatever.
it's also
like,
funny, yeah, like
it's in service of nothing.
It's them colliding their own plot with reality from time to time. Like it's them acknowledging that it's completely unimportant, like that it's all so trivial, and that like the cops don't care, no one cares, it's not important.
The ultimate joke that the nihilists are the only people at the end of the movie who are like, "Where's our money?"
Because they care.
They care deeply.
They're betraying.
We have body sacrificed. Where the fuck is our money?
In a way, I think it is the most pointed thing in this movie because, of course,
Peter Stormare, of course, we haven't mentioned yet.
He's amazing.
Like, right after, and
the doctor from Funny People.
Yeah, the big tall guy.
Yes,
he was great.
Yes. That's a real like treat every time I go back and watch this film again post Funny People.
Yeah. In Funny People, we literally like cast that man so we could make fun of him.
Right. Which is like, the run of like, feels like a Die Hard guy.
Like, it feels like a cheat in movies where you're like, you do a thing and then make fun of that.
It's Dan Harmon's joke about, is it Ace Ventura 2?
It's Ace Ventura When Nature Calls.
Where the guy, he's like,
the
that
Monopoly
looks like
guy.
He's at a fancy party. He does.
Yeah, he actually does.
Like, you
cast him. You picked him to
that's
be.
Harmon's bit.
That's the joke.
You don't get to make me think that your character is clever for making a joke about a guy you cast
to look like that guy. That's what we do.
It's fucking funny.
But then I love that in Funny People, he gets the joke back.
Yes, he got like it. Yes.
To speak to the stoner thing that we were saying before with the nihilists and the avant-garde artists, I love how in this movie, it's like not making the joke about how they're weirdos.
No.
I like that they just kind of exist.
Yeah.
I think as a kid, I really appreciated that as I was like getting interested in being like a
everyone in
weirdo.
This movie is quote unquote a weirdo or on like the fringe of society. No one is except for the occasional cops who
the
will
sheriff of Malibu.
Yes.
Or
once I was arrested by the sheriff of Malibu in Malibu.
The real one?
For smoking weed. And the whole time, it was funny, we were like smoking weed on the beach in Malibu.
What year was this?
2000. So weed was still pretty illegal in LA. And we were smoking weed on the beach and we kept joking that like, we were Big Lebowski fans. We're like, oh, the sheriff of Malibu is going to get us. Look over the sheriff of Malibu. And then, like, literally, like, next thing there's flashlights pointing at us. And they're like, freeze, sheriff of Malibu, don't move. We're like, oh, no, they actually got us. Stay out of my beach community.
Stay out of my beach. It's that then with the I really hate the fucking Eagles right after that. It's such a great, like in another movie, this is like a really low point for him. And like that's the dude's actual lowest point. He has to listen to the Eagles after getting our cup.
It's another thing we stole for Pineapple Express was, and like I think I remember showing our stunt person was when he gets the mug thrown at his head. And there's a scene where
I don't know how they did that.
It's just a rubber mug with a sound.
I guess
like,
so.
Because like there's a scene where where someone throws an ashtray at my head.
Yes, that's right.
And it's like I remember we showed them that. We were like, we want it to look exactly like this. Like we want it to look and feel, and just like how when I watched that, I was like, oh, like that's what we want is for that exact thing to happen.
Well, the thing that for me makes that moment land so hard, and I don't understand how he does this on a performance level. It's like Bridges is reacting on a 2-second delay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? He does, and it doesn't feel like mistiming. It feels like this guy is so stoned that it takes a little bit longer for his body to communicate with itself.
You know who lives in Malibu? Iron Man. And Jeff Bridges didn't like him either.
No, he didn't like him either.
Sure.
He's got a long storied history.
You know who else lives in Malibu? B-Rad. B-Rad from Malibu's Most Wanted, a film he once accused Ben of liking.
One of the rudest things you've ever said to me.
When Ben is like 5 drinks in, he'll be like, do you remember that fucking time Sims assumed I liked Malibu's Most Wanted?
Once I was at I used to do these like writers round tables where you'd punch up a movie, and I was punching up, it was for Big Mama's House 2.
Sure.
And
job done.
Exactly. And we were in like a production office, and there's all these posters on the walls, and I was with my friend Jenny Connor, who's a writer, and she like to the table was like, you know, it's always a red flag when you come into a fucking production office and the poster for Malibu's Most Wanted is on the wall. And
Put that one up.
And the director of Big Mama's House 2 went, I directed that movie.
And was he like, and it rocks?
No, he was very insulted.
Hell yeah. That is really funny.
I just think it is one of the funniest franchises because the setup of the first Big Mama is
He's got to dress like this woman, this specific woman. Right.
Nia Long needs to be monitored, so you have to dress up as her mama, right? And go undercover as her great aunt or whatever it's supposed to be, right? And then 2 and 3. 2 is once again,
it's about jewel thieves or something. Right?
Yes, you need to go undercover at like a women's college to bust a jewel thief run. Maybe you should whip out that old mama costume.
You got that mama suit. We invested $500,000 in that mama suit.
He's now married to Nia Long. He's adopted her son, right? And it's like, and I'm going to just go out and pretend to still be your mama. Big Mama 3 is, hey, Nia Long's son, it's time you take up the family business, pretending to be mama. Not just dressing up as an old lady, but like
specifically mama.
Mama is important to American crime. Taking down these rings.
Mama works.
Mama works. Mama plays.
Mama's effective.
I want to say, to Ben's point, especially at this point in time, the Coen brothers get hit a lot with this idea, this criticism, especially from their skeptics of like, are they just fucking nihilists?
Right.
They put a bunch of dumb characters on a board. They make
fun of
a crime movie in which nothing matters and people die and everything was kind of pointless. And they're mocking everyone. And the nihilists in this movie are the only characters who are like doing something, right? Who like
they're the only ones who care.
Right. Are trying so hard to sell the idea that they don't care and have other people repeat the idea that they don't care. And that's their defining characteristic. And yet they're willing to like fucking lose toes to make money.
They just want money is what's
right. Which I think like.
Do you think they want to make another record? Like, is that what they want to do? Right.
But in the name of what you're like, what we were saying of like, this is a movie it feels like the Coen brothers were willing to die to make. Yeah. It's a movie about like, no, we like all these people. We find these characters interesting. These movies are not condescending. We are not nihilists. Nihilists are kind of like broken.
Yeah.
Right? If you actually don't care about anything, what are you covering for? No one just naturally doesn't care about anything. And that this movie is a bunch of people who have their own things they want to do. And they're all just fighting each other for how to get to it.
Yeah.
But all of them are just like, I want to be seen as this philanthropist. I want to be a performance artist. I want to be the ultimate chiller. You know, I want people to view me as an American hero. You know, Jesus wants to be the greatest bowler rather than the greatest pederast.
Sure.
Like, but everyone has this sort of sense of like...
I get why you'd want that.
I mean, it's so sweet. It's so sweet at the end that Walter starts talking about Vietnam. Like, obviously, it's sad that he can't let it go. And it's weird. It messes up Donnie's sad little funeral. And the dude justifiably gets mad at him. But you do feel for Walter that he's like, I don't understand why bad things have happened to me.
It's the great Vietnam thing of these, like, young men were told they had to do this thing that then, like, the world said, like, this was bullshit and it never should have happened. Right. And you're like, so what were my scars for?
And then, like, the movie ends with the stranger, like, you know, being like, hey, how you doing? You know, and the dude's like, the dude abides and I'm chilling out. And you do feel like comfort in that. And the stranger being like, it's nice, right?
I guess it's good, the dude abides.
I guess it's good. It's comforting knowing this guy's just out here.
And then, like, you know, little Lebowski's on the way. So it's sad Donnie had to die, but like, you know, life keeps moving on. And like, I feel like it's a hopeful movie.
Heart attack. It's meaningless. It didn't. It had nothing to do with the plot machinations.
Well, maybe he got a little worked up.
They think he was shot.
No, I know. Yeah, no, I know.
Right.
Yeah,
people think he was shot?
I'm saying in the moment.
He was shot.
Scene, they're
well,
like,
he also missed for the first time. And then he's sort of fucking with his hand. Like,
he knows he's off.
He knows there's something going on.
Something's going on.
Buscemi's so good in this.
Oh, he's so good.
Incredible.
Like, just the joke of them being like, Buscemi, sorry. I always Buscemi. Like, of them being like, you won't have any dialogue in this movie, basically. And him being like, yeah, that's fine. I'll still create like a character
you'll
people
talk
will never
a lot,
forget.
but you'll never be heard.
Right. You know, like the opposite of
you're getting yelled at all the time.
He's so good. And it's kind of like invisible, like yeoman's work, because you're like, the point is to do the thing that feels like it doesn't matter.
It's also amazing in comparison to what he just had done in Fargo, where like he doesn't shut the fuck up.
Right.
He's like a fucking
dominates the
rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat energy that like, dominates the entire movie. Reservoir Dogs was a few years before that. Like, he's sort of known for being this like smarter than everyone, kind of more clever than everyone.
He's kind of playing the Walter, the guy who is getting so worked up about it.
Yeah, angry, aggressive in a comedic way. But then, in this, that he's just sort of like the dopey guy who's a step behind all the time. It's so good.
Have you Have you ever worked with Goodman? I was trying to do this calculation in my head.
I don't think I've ever met John Goodman.
He feels kind of hard to like pin down in a way. Like
McBride got him. He's had him for years.
McBride got his ass.
He's doing great work with him. But no, he to me was like, honestly, like when I started acting, he's one of those people I looked at as like, he's like evidence I could perhaps be a professional actor.
In this rewatch, it's why I wanted to ask you this. I was like, is he quietly a humongous influence on you as an actor?
Absolutely. And like really was channeled. And it's funny because for years I wanted to be Jonah in Superbad, or the Seth role in Superbad. And my take on it was very much derivative of Walter, like Teen Walter. What the fuck? Just screaming at people. What are you talking about? Just kind of always so angry that like no one's quite on my rhythm or like following what I wish everyone was following. And Jonah found, honestly, was probably like a much more endearing way of doing it than what I imagine I would have done. But it was very inspired by John Goodman. And I loved him. And like Roseanne, I was a huge fan of, and thought he was so funny. And, King Ralph, I was a big fan.
Hey, we just did a big King Ralph live show in tribute of Ben's respect for the king.
I like that movie.
Yeah,
it's a
really
funny
fun.
movie.
It's a funny movie.
The whole royal family dies in the opening.
Nothing funnier than that.
Fucking funny is the most
good bit.
Yep, it's a pretty good bit.
David, in your, I don't know if you know about David's brackets.
Your brackets.
Or his spreadsheets, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But that David has spreadsheets for every years of the movies he has seen and what he would nominate in every category at the Oscars.
Amazing.
You gave Goodman 2 Best Supporting Actor wins, right? It's this and Barton Fink?
Correct. I think those are just...
Martin Fink. Martin Fink's not a movie I particularly respond to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's because
you're... seen it in a long time.
That's because you've bent Hollywood to your
exactly.
will.
I honestly think it's one that I just don't fucking get it. Like, it's like I don't think I get.
I love Barton Fink, but I do have him, as my Best Supporting Actor of 1998. That is absolutely the case.
He's incredible in both of them. They both feel like they should be like, if not career cappers, because obviously he had so much more work to do. But like, congratulations, we acknowledge you.
Yes,
and it's just crazy that we're like 30 years later and he still remains like one of the most grossly unnominated, not just for Oscars, but you're like, he won 1 Emmy for fucking Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
That's insane.
That's the only time they ever gave it to him.
John Connor?
No.
He never won for Roseanne.
He's so good on this show.
He's why Roseanne is the best.
Yes.
Like, I mean, we love Roseanne. We love like...
That's why the Connors still rip.
Right? Yeah, it's Connors, like, he's so amazing on that show.
But you watch this and you're just like, this is an astonishing performance that... I was about to say no one else on the planet could do, but Mel Gibson could do it in a way that
Mel Gibson could have done it pretty well.
Changed laws earlier.
The fucking look on his face after he rolls out of the car and the Uzi goes off, and it's just like him kind of deadpan looking off in the distance. It's so funny.
He is so good every time he has to admit he's wrong but won't do it, but kind of will just sort of like go quiet.
He kind of doesn't care. He's like, whatever, dude. Yeah.
Fuck it. Let's go.
Fuck it. Yeah, it's like he instantly diminishes his own failures immediately. Like right away, he's able to write off his own shortcomings.
But the idea,
whatever.
Like, when he does his big outfit change into the sort of like covert military fatigues, right? He's been doing his sort of like flak jacket, like full Milius thing.
Yeah.
And now it's like, we're on a secret mission. I need to be stealth. And then going to the sort of businessman mode at the end.
And this is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass. It's like one of the all-time great comedic scenes in a movie.
Agreed.
Like,
and also one of the great weird TV censorship edits of all time.
What do they say?
The cable version of this movie, and that line gets repeated so much, is this is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps. Which is weird as a one-off statement, but when he has to say it 10 times, it's insane. It starts feeling hallucinatory.
It's funny because, this, I guess, is a cable classic.
Yeah.
But I think of it as also...
This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps.
That's pretty good.
As he punches a kid.
That's good. Like, it's a DVD classic to me, like an early DVD, right?
Yes.
Like, this was a movie everybody had on
It's part
DVD.
of the proliferation of what you're saying of, like, there wasn't a big canon of stoner movies. This movie is, like, cresting at a point where it's, like, DVDs are cheap, available. Every college student has a player because they either have a video game system or a computer or a TV or whatever it is. And this movie's on Comedy Central all the time. It's on basic cable.
And there's like theaters that are doing like Lebowski night and shit like
Immediately.
that, like right
within
away.
2,
And it's like
3
they're
years.
serving White Russians, showing up in robes and shit. Like that was happening a lot. Yeah.
My other favorite TV edit line is, of course, Scarface, where in the original, the first interrogation, they go, "How do you get that scar, big guy?" And the line in the movie is "eating pussy," and the line in the cable edit is "eating pineapple." And I like it because there is an internal logic to it.
Sure, there's
You're
like,
like,
you
that could scar you
if you just shoved your face in a one.
if you didn't eat it right.
before we played the box office game. No,
we used to spend a lot of time on those.
So Kelly Clarkson, you said, was basically designed.
That was
to be
in the movie, though. We used to, but I remember we would steal one from. I remember Melon Farmer was from, I think, Die Hard. Maybe like I grew up watching John McClane saying "Yippee Ki-Yay, Melon Farmer."
Yes, and that's in Pineapple Express.
Yeah, so in Pineapple Express,
motherfucker.
But I actually think we put it in the actual movie. Like I think Danny just says Melon Farmer, like in the actual movie itself. But yeah, we would try to get really creative.
I will like right because like 4-Year-Old Virgin knocked up. These are movies where I was like, I can't believe it. The Freaks and Geeks guys are making movies. This is great. Pineapple Express was like, did this escape from a lab? Like that was a little bit more like, I can't believe this is allowed.
We felt the exact same way.
As like a summer movie with a budget,
have, like machine guns and chases and shit.
I watched Freaks and Geeks like on broadcast on NBC when it aired, which took so much effort to track down where it was
changed
moving.
Nights like 3 times,
and even the summer burn off of the last couple episodes.
Yeah, it was off for 3 weeks and then came back.
And I was like, catching like episodes I'd missed on Fox Kids, going to the fucking Paley Center, then the Museum of Television and Radio to be like, I think I haven't seen 4.
It's so crazy.
You know, Kim Kelly's
aired. My friend, never aired.
Then I get that yearbook DVD my like freshman year of high school.
What we all got.
And it's like, finally I have control. I can rewatch it when I want. Also in high school.
In order.
Yeah. With the commentaries and the context and all that. That also in high school, I get so into David Gordon Green in those first 3 movies. And when in like 2008, it's like there is an action comedy
directed by David Gordon Green.
What the fuck are you talking about? Like I had the same reaction, David, where I was like, this is actually just impossible.
It was weird. It was very weird. Yeah. But honestly, we wanted them to be artful movies. And part of us were like, the obvious version of Pineapple Express is like it's just like a dumb stoner
get
kind
the
of
director
comedy.
Of Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. And we were like, we were big George Washington fans and we loved all the Real Girls. And we were like, oh, what if we got sort of like a fancy indie guy to make this
But
movie?
all the Real Girls.
Again, that's what I mean. Where it's just like, who allowed this?
Right.
Like,
all the Real Girls has
the answer is Amy Pascal.
Yeah, God bless her. Yep.
And what's funny, to her credit, she let us make the movie. She let us hire whoever the fuck we wanted. They never came to set. They never said anything. We were at the first test screening for the movie. And like, it played and tested very well. And there was like a moment early on where it's just like annihilating. And Amy is sitting beside me. And she turns to me and she goes, now I get this movie. And I was like, now you get it?
Never got it?
I was like, we spent $25 million on this. We're at the test screening. And like, to her credit, she just trusted us. And she was like, I assume I'll get it eventually. And she did.
We talk about her a lot on this podcast.
She's amazing.
Because I think especially
it's a really
for us
interesting
covering
era.
the 2000s and the 2010s of studio filmmaking and when sort of blank check movies were able to come out of these careers, you're just like, she was the one studio head where you can look at her and you're like, she took chances on people.
Yes.
She like developed movie stars.
Uh-huh.
She identified people in places that people wouldn't have assumed you could take this person there.
Yes.
And would just be like, I want to make things that are artful and commercial at the same time.
Yeah. And actually, it's like exactly the opposite of how movies are made now, basically, which is, she would believe in an idea,
and you can balance it out,
or a person, and allow them to go make a movie without every element being a sure thing. Basically,
if we own Spider-Man, that gives us the latitude to be able to incubate some side projects and
to make like a $20 million movie, and we're also making Men in Black 2 this year. So
right. So it'll be fine.
Yeah,
like, exactly.
It'll ultimately be
right.
And Men in Black 2. I mean, no problems with that one.
Great movie. Balchinians. You kidding me? Old timer.
I did another at Comic-Con. I did another like 10 drinks in. Can I tell you the pitch that Sims and I had for Men in Black 2?
Yeah, sure. Right.
This is like a formative moment in Sims and I's friendship. As we were at a bar.
We broke the story.
Men in Black 2 was playing on a par. It was years before we had the podcast, and we were like, "Is there any version of this that works?"
And was there?
we came up with one we thought was pretty good.
The whole problem with Men in Black 2 is that undoing Tommy Lee Jones's triumph at the end of Men in Black 1 is hard. Like, it just kind of fucks up the movie to begin with.
Yeah.
You want him to have his happy ending. So our answer was the movie is that he's basically Siobhan Fallon Hogan. That Jay is missing his partner. He gets told that an alien crashed.
It's
and
the same,
he needs
Tommy Lee
interrogate
Jones.
the witness. And the witness is the neuralized Tommy Lee Jones who's
that's
happily
great. You
just
married.
flip it.
And is like, I don't believe in aliens.
That's a great idea. That would have been good.
And they get to team up, and he's like, I'm here with my best friend again who doesn't remember me, but I don't want to neuralize him because I'm enjoying the time we're spending together. And it's like Midnight Run. It's them in 3 days trying to solve the case, and the one guy's a skeptic.
I guess, I mean, like, the problem with Men in Black 2 is instead it's just like, go in this room, be, okay, you're Tommy Lee
You're
Jones
back.
again.
You're back.
Cool.
Tommy Lee
But also, it's worse than that. It's that the movie starts, and they show up, and he's like, my wife left me.
Yeah,
I hate working at the
exactly.
post office.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Why don't we fought for this?
Yeah. Anyway, Men in Black 1, great movie.
Should we do final thoughts?
Yes.
before the
Anything
box
else
office
you want to
game?
say about Big Lebowski before we play the box office game?
I want to shout out Dom Herrera.
Tom Herrera.
Oh,
He's
sure.
really funny as just a little tiny cameo.
He plays
The landlord?
the
limo
he's
driver.
The limo driver.
Yeah.
Oh, the limo driver. That's
Yeah.
right.
The landlord is also great. He was in some other movie.
The landlord's name is Jack Keller, and he's in a ton of stuff, but he's so fucking funny. He's in he's one of the guys in the Austin Powers Spy Who Shagged Me run of dick jokes.
Yes.
He's the guy, I can't remember which one, but he's in the
I probably have the
And to
card
me,
for
that
him.
little joke is also like so reminiscent of like being like in Los Angeles,
Yes,
friends with
like
people,
your
and like, oh, you got to
landlord
go to this weird show.
is gonna dress up and leave.
But you know what's a great character detail? That
They
the
go.
landlord
that they go.
that he
They all
goes
go.
and that he's eager to go. That
Yeah.
that like that's a great Bridges choice.
Yeah,
That he doesn't play it as like, oh yeah, I'll go to that. He's like, yeah, man, absolutely.
yeah, and then they
Right.
go, and they're
Right.
not making. And like it clearly sucks, but there's not. They're not making fun of it.
they're not rolling their eyes.
They're just
Right.
happy.
So
They're
much.
totally happy
Yeah.
to support him.
You learn so much about the dude from the fact that he is the one guy who wants to go see his landlord's
Yeah.
creative
He's
side
also-
project.
Yeah, and he
Who's
goes.
eager to
He's
do
also
it.
like appropriately horny, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like he responds to all of the horniness coming at him with
Yes.
the right amount of horniness.
Yes, he's not
Like
overly
some.
horny or underly horny.
But also
Right.
kind of like overwhelmed. Like he's
A
just
little,
kind of like it all
but he
sort of
still
happens
wants to
him.
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
This might be Tara Reid's best performance.
Oh, she is great in it.
Yes, she beat out Heather Graham for the role, which makes sense, I guess. Heather Graham just been Boogie Nights. Obviously the gag of the chair falling down, like him building the thing to block the door from being open, and then it's the wrong way. Yes, I know it's simple, but I think about it all the
It's
time.
a funny joke.
Same with Treehorn drawing like
The
just a
dick,
picture
the
of himself in
Treehorn
a
dick thing is one of the weirdest jokes.
It's such a
ever.
good encapsulation of the movie of like a clue.
A
And it's
clue.
like, no,
It's like,
everyone's
it's
just
nothing,
bizarre.
nothing matters.
But also, like I will say, my mother always had a notepad near the phone growing up,
Yeah, of
near the
course.
landline.
My mom did too.
and I would look at it afterwards, and like 5% of the time, it was something that someone
just
said.
doodling.
Most of the time, it was doodles.
Yeah, it was
And you're like, this guy would just doodle himself with a boner. That's what he would doodle. It doesn't mean anything.
Oh god.
And it's like the one time the dude does something smart.
Right, he, like, notices that they zoom.
Yeah, like the one time
He's gonna
like,
put it-
oh,
he doesn't realize he's being
actually
drugged.
gonna do something.
It goes into like Hitchcock vision for 5 seconds where like he's putting the pieces
You see
together.
him, like looking at it.
I also just love that like all the wind up on Jesus is just to do the payoff at the end of him being angry that they still showed up at the bowling alley
Yeah.
on the night they said they couldn't bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
You just expect that for some reason this guy is going to factor into the plot in a major way at the end, and he could not be.
Has anyone
more
seen
relevant.
the like Jesus spin-off
No,
movie?
I'm
can't bring
scared to
myself
watch
do
that.
Seth, literally no one has ever.
Literally no
I
one.
don't
John
think John
Turturro
Turturro-
didn't see it. Yeah.
The weirdest thing
It was
about that,
directed with his eyes closed.
It's so crazy. Like Pete Davidson and John Hamm are in it. Like
Really?
like,
Sarandon,
yes,
it's got like 10 big people.
because like Turturro's friends with people, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, making a movie. Stop
I hate
by.
to say, if they asked me to be in it, I probably would have
Of
said
course,
yes.
you should've fucking done it.
The weirdest
with you?
thing is that it's like it's a side quote to Lebowski where he
Yeah.
basically went, because I think the story is that he used to do this character. He would do like character monologues as a
Yes.
version of this character.
He was in a play and like
Right.
sort of had done something like this, and he was like, "That's what I'll do." And
They were
obviously
inspired
knew
by
him.
that, and then
Right.
they sort of like write it in, and then he was like sort of, since I kind of made the character, is it cool if I do something
Well, I think the Coens are also like the dude showing up to his landlord's thing. They're like, yeah, man, what do we
That's their attitude
like,
with the Fargo show and everything.
Right.
They're just like, you do what you want to do. It's fine.
Right. We're not afraid that our movie will be like corrupted by this.
But for years, it would like he'd mention it in interviews and people would be like, oh, there's going to be a Lebowski sequel? John Turturro's going to write and direct a Lebowski sequel, assuming it's a more straightforward thing. And then it's like, no, he wants to remake a 70s French Gerard Depardieu sex comedy.
Oh, is that what it is?
It is. It's this movie Going Places. It's about a competition to see who can get laid more.
Yeah.
But decided. It's about 8-year-olds.
But that's the other thing. The movie, I think, makes him
like he's a pedophile.
I think it ignores that part, which then you're like, then what is the guy?
Yeah, I know one thing about him.
Right.
2, he likes bowling and he's a pedophile.
He likes bowling and children.
Yeah. 8-year-olds, dude.
This 8-year-olds, dude. This film came out March 6th, 1998.
Quickly, last thing.
Okay.
Gotta shout out the Dylan song.
Yeah, the band.
So good.
The band and me.
To your point of like, right, songs getting repeated or repurposed, this is a weird case of a movie that uses all songs that are not obscure and yet feels like it claims ownership of them.
For sure.
Right? Like it has that kind of
what
like
condition my condition was
yes.
in.
So good.
Yeah, the band and me for sure.
But it like does the risky business like old time rock and roll thing 8 times where you're like, well, that's now the song from the Big Lebowski, a song that had a reputation
the weird
for
like mariachi version of Hotel California.
Yeah,
well, because it really like it is like a 90s Scorsesean or Tarantino-y, and maybe they're the same thing type thing where it is like shamelessly aggrandizing of a character using needle drop and shots and slow motion and I love it, and it's something we do again. It's like we do that like when Danny McBride shows up and this is the end. Like I literally remember showing RDP the sequence from the Big Lebowski. It's like this.
Yes.
It's like a musical interlude to introduce a new guy, and we are like shameless about it. Like,
but it's perfect. It's like you copy what works. Like
steal from the best.
All right. March 6th, Griffin, 1998. I don't know if that was I don't know if there was a right time to release this movie. It doesn't really feel right, but
no.
Like
spring break.
Yeah.
But this is right. This movie needed to exist in order for people to understand how it could exist.
Yeah.
It had to be the first.
Yeah. It was taking a hit no matter what.
Right. It opens to like $5 million, number 6 at the box office. It's released by Gramercy Pictures. Like, you know, makes what does it make? $18 million.
That's the thing.
Like,
it's a big flop, and yet no one
kind
lost
of
their
made its
shirt on
budget
it because they always
whatever.
kept their budget small.
and also probably sold like 4 billion DVDs.
Oh,
I'm
now,
sure it's like
now I am sure it is one of the 10 most profitable movies in the Universal Library.
At this moment in time, like any movie made like $30 to $40 million on DVD sales.
Right.
Basically. Like
it was like guaranteed.
if it's a movie you've heard of, it made $30 million.
And this one possibly made like 300.
Right.
Yeah.
What's number 1 at the box office, Griffin? It's been number 1 for 3 months.
Fuck. It's Titanic.
It won't be knocked off for another
3
month.
months.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Fucking
It's
nuts.
just like, forget it.
Lost in Space comes out in April, end of April.
Lost in Space is the movie that knocks it off.
Oof. I saw that on
LeBlanc.
Shrooms.
That's not a good one to see on
It was a
shrooms.
real bummer.
You're gonna turn into a spider monster.
We didn't like. It was a lot scarier than we thought.
Exactly. It's like dark and
I remember
metallic.
we were like, "This is a mistake." Yeah.
So Man in the Iron Mask and Spice World come out in January and February, and those were the two that people thought could dethrone Titanic.
Gone.
They're gone. At this point, it's
gone.
like Titanic.
I saw all these movies in the.
You got 4 new
Every
releases
single
in
one
this
of them.
top 10. Big Lebowski is the lowest of them. So number 2 at the box office is a sequel to a huge action movie.
Under Siege
U.S.
2 Dark
Marshals?
Territory.
Great movie, but no, it is U.S. Marshals, which is a bad movie.
Yeah, with Robert Downey Jr.
With Robert
Yes.
Downey Jr.
And
With
Wesley
like, can we
Snipes.
do
Yeah,
The
Wesley
Fugitive
Snipes.
without Harrison Ford? Just have Tommy Lee Jones chase a new guy.
Wesley Snipes.
Right.
With
Who-
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. is the bad guy, or
No,
kind
he's
of
like
the
he's like the third banana.
smarmy
He's
guy.
like the assistant. He's like
right.
Tommy Lee
That's-
Jones is like new. He's the new Joey Pants.
That's
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr.'s like, I was not conscious while
Yeah,
filming.
he's
Yes.
like this was like a heroin fever
Right.
dream. Yeah,
and you're like, this is still maybe one of the
He's
100 best
amazing.
performances.
You still kind of crush every line you're throwing. Because that's the whole thing where I like Ally McBeal was like one of the first times I was exposed to him, and I was like, this guy's a genius, and he's like, no memory of ever being in that show. Do not know I did that.
I thought I was in Bulgaria.
Right. Number 3 at the box office, great movie, comedy hit,
Okay.
big star, kind
It
of
was a
early
hit.
in his run. Yeah, for sure. It's been
Okay.
out for a month.
Early 98, so it's a February 98 release.
Sure. Yep. It's made $57 million. It's going to make 80.
It's going to end up at 80 as of February.
And it's like the start. It's not the start of this guy's career. He's been around.
Is it an Adam Sandler movie?
Bingo.
It's like Big Daddy or something.
It's not
like
Big
that?
Daddy.
Singer.
It's Wedding Singer.
It is kind of that is the level.
Because Wedding Singer is kind of like Sandler. Like it's like not
like
just dumb.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like good.
I mean, I love Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison or whatever. It was like, he
Wedding
can kind of
Singer's
do
my
like
favorite.
something with some drama.
I think it's probably his like best reviewed.
Yes,
of
it
those
was.
movies.
It was kind of the crossover because it was like, he can be a viable romantic lead. He's playing a little bit more.
It's like the first one they like sort of take seriously a little bit in any capacity. Yeah.
It's sort of
a good movie.
But it's like, Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore received similarly. Then this was sort of like the guy's got emotion, and then 6 months later,
Big Daddy
Waterboy comes out.
Right, it goes Waterboy
is
then Big Daddy.
October 98, and then Big Daddy's the following.
He was fucking crushing.
He was unstoppable.
He was on fire.
Yeah,
he was on fire.
He still is.
He's more on fire than ever before.
He might be.
He might be winning an Oscar.
He might be winning an Academy Award.
I was out with Aziz and we were having dinner and we were talking about Adam Sandler and we just like our waitress was like, like a 25-year-old woman and we were like, who's your favorite comedian? Adam Sandler. Right away. We go to like the coach check. Who's your favorite comedian? Adam Sandler. And it's almost like they don't know there's another one. And like me and Aziz are like you're getting asked this question by two famous comedians and you don't even think of naming them.
Looking at you like
out of politeness. They didn't even consider it. They're just like, oh, Adam Sandler. Fuck you guys. Not even close.
Do you know what the other part of it too is like he's the kind of guy where like, who's your favorite comedian? Eddie Murphy. And you're like, Eddie Murphy's like an actor who does comedy movies now. He's not like generating comedy in the same way.
Sandler does.
Sandler fucking does comedy again.
Yeah, and he's still so funny. He's unbelievably funny.
Special is so good.
He's so funny.
He's done 3 specials in the last 10 years.
Yeah, and they're so funny. They're amazing.
Sandler's the man.
Yeah, he's the best.
Number 4. Number 4. Also new, hard-boiled neo-noir thriller with gigantic movie stars that is now remembered for only one thing.
It's not 8mm. It's remembered for one thing. Is a thing memified in it?
It's a thing his character Knocked Up would know.
It's okay. So it's got a nude scene.
Yes.
Okay. 2 giant stars, early 98.
3 giant stars.
Is it Twilight?
Yes. 3 Academy Award winners. Reese Witherspoon gets naked in it. Is what's the only
Who's
thing.
in it?
Paul Newman, Gene Hackman, Susan Sarandon.
Whoa.
It's like
directed by Robert Benton.
Right, the guy who made Kramer
Best Picture,
versus
Best
Kramer.
Director.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But David is correct. The only reason I know that movie
It's because
exists
Reese Witherspoon gets naked.
is because in 2003 I googled Reese Witherspoon nude and there was only one result.
I mean, it's also got like Stockard Channing and like John Spencer. Lots
Liev
of great
Schreiber,
actors.
Stack Cast.
Yeah.
I don't know this movie.
I don't know what it's about. It's like a
What's it called?
Twilight. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's now ungoogleable.
Yes, you can't. It's impossible to find. You
I know
can't
nothing
search for
about it other than the fact that I've seen one scene from it
200,000 times.
I know that scene very well.
It's funny because like Gene Hackman was a guy they wanted for The Big Lebowski, and he was like, I'm kind of not making movies right now. And it's literally opening against a Hackman.
And Twilight was a bigger hit.
Well, by about $500,000. They're all making about 5.
What does Twilight end up at?
Twilight, which is not a movie anyone remembers, ends up at, come on, the numbers, 15 mil.
Okay, so Lebowski beats it.
Lebowski kicked its ass.
Crower
Number 4 at the box office, another kind of forgotten movie, is like a erotic thriller about like, I mean, I've seen it. I saw it like on VHS a zillion years ago. Lady marries.
Erotic
There's like a mean
thriller.
mom. Lady marries a guy and the mom is bad.
The mother-in-law?
Yeah, mother-in-law.
It's an erotic thriller with an evil mother-in-law?
Either evil mom and the female leads are like a established Oscar-winning actress and like an up-and-coming, about to win an Oscar-winning actress.
90.
I don't know if you'll know this movie. Yeah.
So it's like 3 big stars. It's the new
It's
husband.
2 big stars. The husband is a guy who never.
The husband's like a Billy Campbell or something.
I mean, I feel bad saying that, but yeah.
Is it Billy Campbell?
No.
Here's
This
how
guy
I know.
wishes he was Billy
Here's how I know when it's a Billy Campbell movie. David goes, the star of this, you're never going to guess it. And I go, it's a Billy Campbell movie. The third lead in this, it's someone you're never going to guess.
That was the Rocketeer.
It's a Billy Campbell. Okay. So it's, the actress she's going to win an Oscar.
She wins an Oscar for a movie this year.
It's not Gwyneth.
It is Gwyneth Paltrow.
It's a Gwyneth mean mother-in-law erotic thriller?
People just don't remember this.
I don't know this movie
Is it
at
a
all.
perfect murder?
It's called
No.
That's like
Right, that's Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
and
That's like a Dial M for Murder.
Yeah. What is this movie?
The movie is called Hush.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. There's
Jessica
another movie,
Lange.
also another movie called Hush, I think.
There's
a good movie.
Flanagan, right?
Yeah, which
The
confuses
serial
the
killer movie.
narrative
Yeah,
on that.
fucks up the SEO.
Jessica Lange is the mean mom.
Yeah.
I have no memory.
God bless this man, Jonathan Sheikh, the guy from That Thing You'll Do.
Jonathan
Yes.
Skeek. I think it's pronounced
I don't know how to say
Jonathan. Excuse me.
That's when Hollywood finally was like,
Yeah.
junk this guy.
Yeah.
Can't say his fucking name. The guy had a
Sorry.
totally good career. I don't
Yes.
mean to shit.
Was
on him,
married to
but
Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
Nice work
Yes,
if you can
yes,
get it.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
She was almost Christina Skeek.
You thought about it for 5
I thought
seconds.
about it.
Apple
Like, Skeek, Apple Skeek, Christina Skeek,
Or right, yeah, hyphenate maybe.
Applegate Skeek.
Number 6 is Big Lebowski. Number 7 is Good Will Hunting, which is also hanging out.
What's it up to at this point?
103.
Wow.
What is it? And
crushing
it gets to 130?
I don't know.
See, that's
a good movie.
fucking crazy.
Yes, it's fucking March.
Yeah.
It
That
got to
is like-
140.
That would never happen in 100 million
Never.
years.
And like came out in September?
No, I mean, what would have happened by now in like this year is a Good Will Hunting would have been like released for free to your phone without
Yeah.
you even asking.
Exactly.
Like, forget VOD. They would
Yeah.
have just been like, oh my God, just put it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Right. The
it's
modern version of
180 videos.
Yeah.
The modern version of this is Good Will Hunting comes out in 4 theaters in September.
Yeah.
Right.
And by March, at the time of the Academy Awards, there's already 3 spin-off streaming series.
Yeah, exactly.
And the show has been directly loaded onto your brain since the day after it came out.
Wow.
Number 8 along the same lines is James L. Brooks' As Good as It Gets, a very good movie in my
Great
opinion.
movie. Best picture that year.
Do you think
was
it's-
nominated. It lost to Titanic.
Oh, but did he win? Or Jack
He
Nicholson
won.
Jack won and Helen Hunt.
And Helen
Yeah,
Hunt won.
Yeah. Do you think that movie is as good as it gets?
I do. There's
You think it's
nothing better.
actually as good as movies
Great
get?
Times Noodle Salad.
Okay.
Number 9 is Dark City, very underrated
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
That's a huge bomb, but a good movie.
Is that Alexander? What's
Alex
the
Proyas.
Alex Proyas.
The
Yes.
Crow guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that movie.
That movie
it's good.
rules.
That was sort of like a pre-Matrix Matrix.
Exactly.
A little bit.
They
100%.
reuse a lot of the sets, I think.
They
A
did.
lot of the rooftops because they also shot in Australia.
Oh, that's funny.
I
That's
think
why
the
it was
opening,
it.
like
Yeah.
Trinity Chase at the, in the
Oh, it's a
Matrix
Dark City
is
set.
mostly Dark City
Oh,
sets.
that's amazing.
Really good recent 4K release.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
And then number 10.
Rufus Sewell.
Yeah. Hottie.
Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
Seen him on the stage. He's a hottie. Number 10 is The Borrower, speaking of John Goodman.
Ah, kids movie.
Kids movie.
Yeah.
But that must be a
Little
couple
People.
weeks in. Or did this
4
bomb
weeks
really
in.
fucking
4
hard?
weeks in. And number 11, we got to shout it out, Krippendorf's Tribe. Anytime I ever see Krippendorf's Tribe, Walt Disney released that, man.
That's the
Richard Dreyfuss
the Richard Dreyfuss
inventing a
movie.
tribe.
Pretends he's found his tribe.
I did this trilogy. I think
Disney was like, yes.
Mr. Holland's Opus, Krippendorf's
No,
Tribe.
different
and-
trilogy.
Really? That's not the same trilogy.
I had a head cold at some point last fall, and I was like, I need like some syllabus
Jungle
watching.
to Jungle.
Jungle
Yep.
to Jungle.
Krippendorf's Tribe.
And you get it's 3 Disney live action family comedies that reappropriate
Yeah.
tribal
Like the
indigenous
yeah,
culture.
Jungle
Right.
to Jungle, and the air up there.
Well, you know what? That's a good one.
It
That would have
should
been a
have
good
been.
one. Should have been.
My
Bacon
third
gets
one
circumcised in
was
that movie.
Man of the House,
Oh, yeah.
which is the Jonathan Taylor Thomas
Another movie. Yeah,
Chevy
yeah.
Chase movie that is all about their like scouts.
Yes.
but gets deep into the lore of what they're. The duology is really strong, and
Yeah.
Man of the House, I'm kind of.
I get it.
I think Air Up There is
Shaping.
a solid one, though.
I think it's a good movie.
It's
It
a
is,
pretty good
I don't
one.
think
I
it was
could
That
be
movie's
wrong.
just kind of dramatic. Like the
Yeah.
thing about Air Up There is
Well,
like,
it's
it's funny. And
It's a
like, no.
tone that doesn't exist anymore,
Mhm.
is what's funny.
Is that a Shelton? No, or an Underwood? Is it an Underwood?
It might be an Underwood.
It might be an Underwood.
Or
It's
on
not.
Shelton.
No, directed by Paul Michael Glazer of Starsky and Hutch.
And The Running Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's these tone movies that just don't exist anymore where you're like, they're not really funny. They're not really dramatic. They're sort of like somewhere in the middle. They're just
They
kinda-
cost like $20 million.
yeah. And then and in 1998, they make $200 million.
Also, just like walking through the video store as a child and seeing that box and being like, here's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon, not a comedy star, starring in something that's seemingly a comedy where he's up against a really tall African
Okay,
man
yeah.
and a basketball hoop.
I saw that shit in theaters. Man.
I think I know what this is.
He
Yeah.
gets circumcised in it. That's the only thing I remember.
I saw it
With a
on a
lightsaber?
double. I saw it in a double feature with Airborne.
Airborne.
The rollerblading movie? Well, you guys don't know Airborne?
No.
That Airborne screams fucking balcony movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Porch
Porch
movie. Porch film.
Do you know Airborne, Ben?
Yeah, here it is. Yeah. This is kind of in like the Three Ninjas. Inline
Seth Green.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Black.
I wouldn't quite put it in Three Ninjas. Three Ninjas I put in its own genre that I also love and is formative to me.
masterpieces.
I'd say it's like kids beating up adults.
Yes, you're right.
That is part of like the kids
The whole
beating up
early
adults
90s,
genre.
like, kids,
Yeah.
now is your time to get one over on
kids
the
beating up
grown
adults
up.
genre.
Right.
Kids setting traps for adults.
Yes.
I'd say that is that genre. But
Directed by Rob Bowman,
His-
who
his
does
feature
X-Files
Jack-
Fight the Future.
Jack
right?
Black's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seth Green's in it.
Edie McClurg,
Yeah. And the star of it, I don't think ever went on to do anything.
Shane McDermott.
Yeah.
Seth Green is second build. Wow.
Yeah, you don't want Wikipedia to not even have a link to your name, but that is.
But yeah,
Shane's
I think I saw the air up there in Airborne. Or no, maybe I'm thinking of Cool Runnings, which is another sort of
That's a Disney.
questionable.
It's more respectful than the
Yeah.
three I listed. This is a classic. The thing you love, Sims. Airborne has 3 taglines.
Oh, great.
Oh, I love it when a poster can't decide what
Yeah,
to tell
they
you
keep
about a
going.
movie.
The poster is young guy and girl canoodling, right? And then above them are 3 inline skaters
It's all about
like shredding
rollerblading.
air,
Yeah.
right? In front of like a blue, like white cloud background.
Wow, the taglines are
Tagline
so
1
fucking
is
crazy.
Mitchell became the most popular guy on earth, ... once he took to the sky. And once and sky are in a different font and a different color. Then second
That's
tagline.
not what happens in the movie.
I'm sure not.
He's not the most popular guy on
At
earth.
any point.
The second tagline is like rainbowing.
It says, "Man wasn't meant to fly; kids were."
But it's like an
I
arc
like that
above
one.
that one's
the
pretty good.
canoodling head. And then the third tagline is the classic. The tagline leads into the title.
Right.
Heroes aren't made.
They're
comma,
airborne.
They're ...
That's fucking genius.
That's good.
That's
That's
actually
good.
really good. Heroes aren't made, they're airborne. Is
Gotta watch
awesome.
Airborne.
God, taglines are fun. You don't come up with the taglines, right? Like they tell you, "Here's
No,
a tagline."
we
You've done that.
for pineapple.
Put this in your pipe and smoke.
me
We
on
came
Pipe
up
and
with
Smoke
that.
was a
We
big
came that up with that as tag. And it's funny for Superbad.
Superbad had no tag.
Exactly. They
Right.
kept pitching us bad taglines, and we were and it was one of the things where we just like ran out the clock on it.
Right,
We're like,
right.
if we just don't approve any of these, maybe there won't
The
be. a
title
tag.
was
Because like
kinda
Knocked
the
Up was like the
Yeah.
whole thing of like your face.
What if this guy got
What
you
if this guy
pregnant?
got you pregnant?
That was the tagline for
right?
Knocked Up.
That made sense. As I got that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 40-year-old virgin was there's always
Better late than never.
better late than never.
Which is
right.
also pretty good.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah,
in the
it is.
studio, which we should plug the studio now and everything else.
A show our listeners, I think, would not be able to lock in with would mean
like,
nothing to
The
them.
Ron Howard episode is tangential, but I do think like it must be so awkward when you have to sit down and they're like, okay, so here's
yes.
what we have.
That's
like,
exactly
for
how that goes.
posters and
Yep.
taglines
They
and
show
like
you
yes.
them. Yep.
And if you hate it, you have to be like, shit.
Yeah, I've been there. You pray there's something you like, so you could at least
can be like,
sort
oh,
of be positive.
right,
I
right,
think we all like that one.
Right.
But no, I've come out of a lot of those meetings where
You're like-
it's very bad and it's
You
very
start from square one.
yeah, and you're like you have to start over and this is not good. Yeah.
Right.
That happens a lot.
So yeah, the studio.
The studio.
And it's returning, right? We're gonna
We
get
are
more studio.
currently writing the second season.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Platonic
Platonic
is a-
season 2.
and
when does that
Sausage
come
Party.
back?
You have two
and Sausage Party
TV
season
shows
2,
returning.
One's on Amazon.
Yes.
Sausage Party on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
almost on premium.
And Platonic season 2 is on Apple TV Plus.
When do they debut or do you know?
I'm not. I don't. What is the? I think Sausage Party debuts this week, maybe the 12th. I think, and I think maybe Platonic aired a couple of days ago, August 6th. I think so.
Yeah, it just came back. Right.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think
Yes.
By
Right.
the time this is out, maybe they'll both.
No, but this
Yeah.
is out in a couple of weeks. Like
Yeah.
it's
So
all
they're
still
both
available. Yep.
It's all in the soup. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Anything else? Like, what's the Seth Rogen movie we should plug that nobody has seen enough?
The Guilt Trip. I push the Guilt
Take
Trip
This Waltz.
so much. I mean,
Take This Waltz is really good. That's a good movie.
Sarah Polly's
Very
like,
few people
very
have seen
big.
that movie.
That
Almost
movie
nobody's
That
seen
movie
it.
rocks.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
But Guilt Trip, like as a
Griffin,
big
I will say, he's not buttering
studio
you up. He
comedy.
loves that movie.
I haven't watched it since it came out.
I
but
think it's really good.
it might be. Maybe it is.
You've told that story about reading the script and it made you cry and being like, I guess I gotta do this.
Yes, and then making the film it was a little more conflicted.
I think it is still good and it got to me emotionally.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, Dan Fogelman wrote it, who is like an objectively talented writer, and I think there's a few plot twists and turns in the movie that I would also say are like objectively effective. Like
He's good at those.
yes,
Right.
like he is good at them, but I think the movie itself, I think, maybe was not ultimately as good as it could have been, in my opinion.
Maybe it's
but
not
it was
as
really
good
fun
as it
for me.
gets.
But like, I got to sit in a car with Barbara Streisand all day.
She's so good in it.
She's amazing, and
and
like
she never fucking does movies anymore.
she doesn't do movies anymore. And I got to just be like, what was JFK like? Tell me stories about that. You ever meet Elvis? Tell me what he was like. Like it was great, and I would just do that all fucking day. Like it was wonderful. Yeah.
Man, I just saw that. There's this interview with Mariah Carey where they're like, "Are you gonna go to space like Katy Perry?" And she's like, "She went to space."
Yeah, I saw that.
And they're like, "Yeah, she went to space. You gonna do that?" She's like, "I've done it now." That's how I imagine Streisand is. She's like, "Yeah, that was cool. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I've done
I've
it.
done a lot of stuff."
She's done
Okay,
a lot of
well,
All right,
we'll
we
plug Guilt Trip and Take This Waltz.
Yeah, and
Yes.
everything. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles recently.
We covered that on Patreon.
Love that movie. And
good movie.
Ben
Listen.
kind of swears by the Church of Bebop and Rocksteady. I don't know if you know this, but David has young twins, and I have taken to codenaming them Bebop
Oh, that's funny.
and Rocksteady, and I gave them Bebop and Rocksteady toys for their birthday.
Oh, nice. We're also working on a sequel to that.
Very excited for
Coming
that.
along very well,
Yes.
I think.
And
Yeah.
Kellen, he participated in
Kellen Jett and Woodrow White, who were two of the big designers on
Yes.
the movie.
They did an amazing job.
Yeah, they participated in our art show.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. They did a painting of Ben as the bunny kid from Gummo
Oh, that's
that
amazing.
I got for Ben's birthday. Kellen did that. It was very nice.
That's a fun movie.
Do kids know Gummo?
They need to know.
They
Gummo.
need to.
We gotta let
I'm
bring
trying
the
to
kids
do
back.
as
Can
much
we
as I can.
Bring the kids.
Can we
Gummo.
rescind all your plugs for your own projects and just devote the
just
plug
fucking
to
check out
Gummo?
Gummo,
I'm more than
guys.
happy to.
If you're
Probably a
under the
movie
age
or
of
something.
25, the plug is watch Gummo.
It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's funny because it was a wild time in movies.
Yeah.
Like, and there wasn't so many movies that these things went under your radar. Like if you were clued into movies, I remember at this time feeling like no movie came out I was unaware of.
I completely
Like I
agree with you.
never
There was
went
a
to the video
monoculture.
store
Right.
and saw a movie I'd never heard of.
100%,
And like Big
you know what I
Lebowski
mean?
wasn't an A24 movie. It was a failed attempt to make a mainstream
Yeah,
crossover
yeah,
comedy.
big,
All of
huge
these
hit.
streamers who, employ Seth sometimes, so we love them. But, they like actively keep those movies from you because they're
Yeah.
like, no, come on, you want one of these 40 movies.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
right? Like,
Don't you want to get electric?
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right, come on, let's be done.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. This was great.
Seth, and thank you so much for doing this podcast.
Thank you
That's
so
very
much.
silly of you.
It's
I
fine.
was very happy to do this.
Okay.
Ben, thank you for the White Russians. They be hitting.
Yeah, they
God.
did hit.
They're perfect. They were wonderful.
They were well made, to be
Yeah,
clear.
Just
yes.
a good 1 p.m. White Russian.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And I'm going to go back to my family.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Tune in next week for Oh Brother?
Yeah, right. That's their follow up.
Yeah.
Oh
It is a
Brother
bit of a
Art Thou.
gap for them.
No, 2 years. It's
Okay.
not bad.
Felt long.
Great movie.
Yeah. Our
Emily
friend Emily St. James returned to the show.
Yep.
And as always, Seth, not to put you on the spot, but with this moment, this opportunity, is there anything you want to say? Perhaps any apologies you want to make to young Sammy Fabelman?
Sorry for what I did to your family.
You bought him a nice camera.
I apologize. I should never have done that.
Blank Check with Griffin and David is hosted by Griffin Newman and David Sims. Our executive producer is me, Ben Hostley. Our creative producer is Marie Barty Salinas. And our associate producer is AJ McKeon. This show is mixed and edited by AJ McKeon and Alan Smithy. Research by JJ Birch. Our theme song is by Lane Montgomery and the Great American Novel, with additional music by Alex Mitchell. Artwork by Joe Bowen, Ollie Moss, and Pat Reynolds. Our production assistant is Minnick. Special thanks to David Cho, Jordan Fish, and Nate Patterson for their production help. Head over to blankcheckpod.com for links to all of the real nerdy shit. Join our Patreon, Blank Check Special Features, for exclusive franchise commentaries and bonus episodes. Follow us on social at Blank Check Pod. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, Checkbook, on Substack. This podcast is created and produced by Blank Check Productions.
Way out west, there was
Nope.
Nope.
way out west.
Let's see.
Just want to take another look at you. I gotta Jackson Maine my way into this.
I like your style.
I like your style, dude. But then I feel like, what am I getting? I'm getting into something else here. Like your style, dude. I'm now re-strategizing based on how short an amount of time I think I can sustain this voice. Okay.